Valentine's Day,
Yay.
Amanda. I say that because we have a very sexy RageSelect podcast.
Finally.
We have a very...
I'm only here for the sex games and the sexy podcast.
That's right. Normally the podcast, I mean, I think there's like maybe... I think there's only 4 Microsoft stories in this podcast this week.
We're going micro hard today.
Oh my God! Welcome back, everybody. It's time for the RageSelect podcast. Here at RageSelect, I'm Jeff.
I'm Amanda.
I should have done all those whippets before we got started. Yeah, we got a really weird news week, but I managed to make a whole theme out of it.
Nice.
I moved stuff that should have been like, we're rushing through lightning round, but it's all up front because we've got a lot of hot stuff to deal with. Let's start. Let's start before we get into the news with the hottest, the sexiest video game of all. Tetris.
Hell yeah, it is.
So we just watched the trailer for that Tetris movie that they're making.
And it looks fantastic.
Yeah. Do you know? I mean, how much do you know about the?
I know none information at all.
The thing is that what's really interesting is that like the story of how did Tetris come to like game consoles is like this globe-trotting like adventure, because the things you have to remember is that like it was the 80s, and like I know that
so just a lot of cocaine then,
just so much. Yes. I'm sure. Oh man, I hope there's a lot of cocaine in this movie. But like, Tetris was invented in Russia, and this was when Russia was like really communist, so they weren't like the government owned it. It was the property of the people. It wasn't like you could just go over and be like, I want to buy the rights to Tetris. Yeah. Like you would negotiate specifically the Soviet government. On top of that, this was when, Nintendo was breaking into the video game industry in the United States. And a lot of people forget that there was also like a really big anti-Japan thing in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like go watch Rising Sun with Sean Connery.
Oh yeah.
Where he's explaining to Wesley Snipes, he's explaining to Wesley Snipes how those crazy Japanese work, or you can see it in Die Hard, right? Like when he talks about like, oh yeah, they shipped the whole thing over here and put it up, and John McClane's really just like, I don't know about these foreigners. I'm a New York cop.
Yeah.
And then you've got America. And then you've got like essentially the American reps over at Nintendo. And so it's a really fascinating story. And it looks like a really cool trailer. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks super, like, shockingly good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much there's a lot of like weird violence in that trailer. I didn't hear about any of that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's all legit too.
Yeah. There was just a lot of like, there was a lot of 80s action. There was a lot of punching out the communists.
That's just how it works, right?
Yeah. You could do the cocaine, punch out the communists.
Yeah.
The 80s.
Yeah. Not like now where you don't punch out the communists. And you definitely don't do the cocaine.
Yeah. I don't. Man, I don't leave my house. I don't know what's out there.
Like, I don't know who's punching what.
My next door neighbors could be feuding with the people across the street, where it's like the cocaine versus Ruski.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So other than that, the only thing I did last week was I watched Violent Night.
Oh, that's right.
Peacock.
How was it?
It was all right.
Did you fall in love with David Harbour?
Sort of. They have like anybody who doesn't know, this is basically just like this revelation happens like in the first 5 minutes of the movie, that it's like Die Hard at like a rich person's house, but like David Harbour is the actual Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Like he kind of through a series of unfortunate events gets trapped.
Hung by the chimney with care.
I will say that there's some plot points that definitely go into chimneys. Like chimneys play a role in it. Also, John Leguizamo is in there, which is like, the second time in 3 months that I've seen John Leguizamo.
He's just in movies.
Yeah, he's just doing stuff now. Like
he just shows up.
I don't know what he was doing before, but now he's just there. It was okay. I feel like I would
you have liked it more if you watched it, I don't know, near Christmas time?
I think you
could. You know what I mean? You got to be like in the Christmas spirit for it.
Yeah, it was really weird watching a Christmas movie in February.
Yeah.
But I do think that it could make an interesting double feature where you watched that and Die Hard, but you definitely want to watch Violent Night first because it was okay, but it wasn't like, I mean, Die Hard is a classic,
right? Yeah.
And I think, I mean, I don't know. It would be interesting to show Die Hard to one of the youths that's never seen a Die Hard before and see what they think about it, because I watched it all the time when I was like a child.
Yeah.
Like it was like back when, you know, VHS tapes cost $100 and $100 was like $500 today.
Yeah. But it's weird, right? So not only is it a good movie, like I think Die Hard is a great movie, but it's you'll never get why it feels different because it came out like right into the Schwarzenegger, Stallone, big guy 80s action movie. They never get hit by a single bullet, but they hit everybody with all, do you know what I mean?
Right.
And then Die Hard was like a response to that by being this hero that looked like an everyman, this hero that got injured. Like it was totally different. That vibe is, so you miss out on some of it just by not being within the time frame that movie came out in.
The zeitgeist, so to speak. Yeah, it was interesting because that was definitely the first time that, like, by the end of the movie, John McClane is fucked up. I had John Connor on the brain a lot. I think that the game that Michael and I played last week is trying to get me to kill John Connor, even though I don't know where he lives.
You know, it does happen.
I don't own any
except
guns.
for the part where anybody actually gets to kill John Connor.
Yeah, one of my favorite facts about Die Hard is that it was written originally as a sequel to Commando. It was the same character that Schwarzenegger played in Commando. John Matrix was supposed to be John McClane.
Oh, interesting.
But then it was
then
rewritten.
they took a book, because Frank Sinatra had to be offered the role first, right?
Yes.
That was like a whole thing.
It's really complicated. Also,
Hollywood gets real muddled sometimes.
Yeah. It's also worth pointing out that everybody forgets that, like, at that time, Bruce Willis was a comic actor. Yeah,
he was known for moonlighting. Thank you. Yeah.
And so, like, having him show up was similar to, oh my God, this is the wrong podcast. I don't know what podcast we're doing right now. Was similar to when Sigourney Weaver was an alien. She was a complete unknown.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. That it's the same thing. That, like, Alien is a great movie, but you go backwards in time, and not only is it weird that it's this, like, unknown actress, but that it was an actress, because the whole time the movie really leans towards, I can't even think
Tom Skerritt.
Yeah, because he was like more the leading man.
Yeah. He was like a big name.
Yeah, and then. So it's just like you could have some 16-year-old watch Alien or Die Hard now, but it's never going to be the same reaction because they just wouldn't understand.
Yeah. Anyway.
My bad. Movie podcast. Sorry.
Yeah, it was okay. Have you watched anything? Have you been crazy
I feel like
busy?
There was a thing I watched that I was going to talk to you about. Cannot remember. So yesterday I only got like 3 hours of sleep, and I was just like fucking raw dog in life in the hardest way possible. And so last night I got enough sleep, but now I forgot everything that happened anytime before the 3 hours of sleep.
You had that, like, that crazy creative delirious time, and then when you fell asleep, it was like it was all
I got all erased.
Gone.
Yeah,
it just went into the dream buffer and got erased with everything else.
I swear to you, I could pull up. I was texting my best friend all day going, I had something I needed to tell you, and I don't remember what it was.
Oh, man. I hate it when that happens. Okay, well, you know.
Yeah, I got nothing. I'm sorry. I'm empty.
Go watch Tetris. Apple TV, they've got a lot of good stuff. Like, also Ted Lasso is coming back, I think, also in March.
Yeah.
So that Tetris movie is going to be on Apple TV. I don't know. Don't come here if you want to hear about Quantumania or anything like that. Did you watch the trailer for the new Guardians trailer?
Yes.
I thought that looked pretty good.
I thought it looked pretty good, yeah.
But then I thought the Quantumania trailer looked pretty good, and everybody's like, meh.
I thought the Quantumania trailer looked fine. Like, it doesn't look more or less like an Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
I like Ant-Man. I, like, genuinely enjoy Ant-Man, but I didn't feel like, yeah, I'm gonna go fucking watch it in theaters or something. I was like, wow, that's gonna be nice when it comes on Disney Plus.
I'm not gonna leave the house for this.
Yeah.
Come on,
seriously,
come on.
It's gotta be a great movie to do
you
that.
know what I got at my house? I got all kinds of good stuff at my house. Well then, without further ado, let's stop talking about movies and start talking about video games by talking about video game movies.
Perfect.
So I didn't really know where to put this, so I put it at the beginning. Last week, the Super Mario Brothers movie put out a real fun little short that was the Super Mario Brothers plumbing commercial.
Yep.
That was a remake of the rap that.
Yes, it was a nice little homage.
Yeah, what's his name? Who's the guy in the original Super Mario Super Show?
Captain Lou.
Captain Lou Albano.
Captain Lou.
But they did.
Did you
that.
call the number?
I didn't call the number. Does it do
Because I
something?
did.
Okay.
Yeah, it tells you to text. They literally tell you to text in the commercial, but I was like, fuck it. Don't give me a phone number. I'm not going to call it. I call, and it just kind of gives you a quick and dirty audio version of that, of the commercial. Mm-hmm. And then if you text it, there's a little more, but I didn't text it. I just saw some screenshots from other people. And then we did go on the website as well, because it's like their plumbing website.
Yeah.
And we read reviews, and some of the reviews were like, they're terrible plumbers, but my dog loved them, so 2 out of 5 stars.
Did you know that the lady at the end doing the testimonial was the voice actress for Peach from the cartoon show?
Oh, no, that's great.
Yeah, I read that.
That's amazing.
Earlier. I love this shot where they're just looking, staring.
Like
just
really angry, menacingly.
Just fucking really like going right at the camera, like fixing stuff, pointing at their fixin', and they're just like, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
This made me more hyped for the movie than anything.
Than the other trailers.
Than the actual like movie stuff. They're just cute. I love the little cutiness of it.
I think that movie is going to be fine, and I think that nobody's going to stop complaining about it ever in the history of all mankind.
Look, I'm going to complain about Chris Pratt.
I was telling Bryce that if eventually that movie's going to come out, and then it's going to come on to like VOD or whatever, and then like some group of dorks somewhere is going to go back and like redub all the dialogue to make Mario sound like Charles Martinet, to make Donkey Kong sound like I don't know what Donkey Kong sounds like. I don't think I've ever heard Donkey Kong talk before. Yeah,
I've never heard him use words.
Yeah.
Or they just replace it with Donkey Kong noises. He'll be like Chewbacca.
Yeah. So.
It'll be cute. I mean, I don't know. I'm hyped for it.
Sure.
Not like amazingly hyped.
I just,
I want this to be successful enough that they go, Luigi's Mansion, and then that's it.
Wait, did you see in this, it was pointed out in the article that I'm looking at, when they go along, when they push
there's
the
like
car along.
a map, yeah.
Yeah, there's like a map, and it's got a bunch of, it's got a bunch of stuff in it, but one of them is like, what is it? It's like, Ecto Hill and Ghost City.
Oh, nice. Yes.
So yeah, there's some fun stuff in there. Anyway, all right. Time for the true sexiness. Amanda, there was a controversy last week.
A sexy controversy?
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
So The Witcher 3 got like this big next gen update, and they added in a bunch of stuff. They added in ray tracing and all these high resolution textures. And one of the things that they did was they added in a bunch of community mod packs.
Yeah.
And somehow those community mod packs involved very detailed lady parts.
Nice.
Normally, so there's 3 characters in the game that are called they're like the crones or whatever. Let me see if I can find the link that shows it, because we're not actually
that
showing
shows it. Oh,
yeah. Is that what? No. What? Can I just?
That's fine, Jeff. I know what vaginas look like. No, I need.
Hold on for a second.
This is important.
I want you to be able to know. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So normally in The Witcher, when you see like these naked ladies from the front, right? It's like that thing where they're just kind of like, there's not a lot going on. It kind of looks like a Ken doll a little bit, because they're not zooming the camera all up underneath all the parts. But like here, we've got like visible lips.
Yeah, there's definitely
landing strips,
vaginas down there.
Yep. So
they're so uniform.
Oh yeah, they all have the exact same pubic hair.
The exact same pubic hair. Like they all sat and looked like, no, we all decided.
Well, they're like the Fates, right? So they were just like, should we just all go?
You don't think they would have full bush? I'm just saying, it's weird that they were like a Brazilian.
You think it's weird that these fantasy ladies took the time to like style their pubic hair in a way to make them look like late '90s porno stars?
Very particular, yes.
It's not quite the Hitler stash, but it's close.
It's close.
This podcast will not be monetized, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, they never are, but like, I just like
Patreon.com so we can talk about landing strips.
Can I just tell you? Can I just tell YouTube ahead of time? Just don't bother.
You
don't need to spend your time scanning the entire thing.
It's fine.
It's fine. Put the yellow thing on it. It's fine.
Put that thing on.
Put that thing on it. You got to get that thing all up in there. So the story of this is actually kind of a whirlwind roller coaster craziness.
Yeah.
So
you had to go to Russia.
You had to go to Russia. That's right. Okay, so communism owned all the vaginas in the 80s. I don't know if you know about so the thing is that when they did this next gen update, they had a bunch of community mods that they integrated into the game, and one of those mods was called
like, vagina it up, baby.
Well, one of those mods was called High HD Monsters Reworked, and that was a mod that went in and like cleaned up a lot of the character models for a lot of the monsters, made them look a lot better. It made all the character models look better, and stuff. What CD Projekt Red did not know, because the thing is that CD Projekt Red, they didn't just like pull a Skyrim and steal people's content. They found this mod, they looked at it, they said this looks good, they contacted the mod developer, they said we want to put this into the game officially, we want to pay you for it, we want to license it from you.
Yeah, they were doing it right.
They were doing it right. What they didn't know was that the person who made this mod took another mod called Vaginas for Everyone. And when he was making his mod, or they, or whatever, I don't know, when they were making their mod, they messaged the mod maker of Vaginas for Everyone that put this exact genitalia. That's why it's all the same.
Yeah.
They built one, and they put it on those ladies, Siri, Yennefer, Triss, and then like a prostitute. Like anybody whose junk you could see in the game, they just slapped that on there.
Yeah.
Anywho,
you don't even have to edit it to make it sound dirty. It's great.
Yep. So apparently that guy messaged the maker of Vaginas for Everyone and said, I want to put this into my HD Monsters pack because it is a texture enhancement, whatever. The maker of Vaginas for Everyone did not respond. The mod maker for HD Monsters just took this shit and put it in anyway.
Yeah.
Did not let CD Projekt Red know.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't listed as one of the things that was changed. Didn't give any credit to the person who made it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they put out an official patch and here come the landing strips.
Oopsie doodle.
Which is a really fascinating story about a really strange thing.
So, okay,
happened.
how do you rectify this issue? Do you just remove the vagina? New bottom surgery dropped. Do you pay the person that made the vaginas?
What a sentence! What a sentence was that? Do you pay the person that made the vaginas? I mean, artists should be compensated for their work.
Yeah, he worked really hard on one vagina, or she. But I'm assuming it sounds like something a guy would have a lot of time to do.
I'm pretty sure that both of the people involved here are dudes. The answer is that they are patching it out. They're patching those bottom parts out of the game.
Yeah.
But because this is the internet and like, okay, sure. They had to put out a statement about it.
Sorry about the vaginas, everybody.
Yeah. Let's see. So they put out their statement saying what they were going to do, which is add this patch in that takes out the vajays. But then they also said, We want to add that the removal of these elements is not intended as a statement against nudity or mature themes, but rather an attempt to maintain visual coherence across all character models, including these textures in the game, was not something we planned from the start. So, because the Witcher already has like a shitload of blood and also like sex all up and down it and stuff like that, they had to come out and be like, we're not. So I think that what they should have done, my vote, was not for removing these, but for adding big old bushes. Because I think that when they talk about that statement, they're saying that like, well, this doesn't fit with the world, like we were talking about. And it's like, well, okay, so put a lot of hair down there, like that
Full
fits
bush,
with the world,
covers everything.
Also, people need to see more bushes.
Yeah,
I mean,
people need to get comfortable with pubic hair.
Yeah,
it's weird that you're not.
So wait, is this is like what they oh my god,
Jesus,
this is what they originally looked like.
Yeah,
which is kind of just
also weird.
It's hard to
see the one with flowers in her hair. She should have flowers in her bush.
You can barely. There's barely.
Why are they so fucking bloody?
They're weird witches. They're weird like blood witches.
Like they're like straight up stabbed in the kidneys or something.
They just wiping their hands after they got some
like,
blood.
Oh, sticky, and then but they're naked and they forget and they're like, fuck, now it's on my tum.
Yeah. These are terrible screenshots to
these
demonstrate
are not great.
this. But anyway, you can see in the first screenshot
the guy was
that
taking the
they're
screenshots with one hand, so you know. It happens.
I didn't even know this happened in that video game because I always get tired after the first 46 hours of The Witcher and stop playing it.
Can you imagine 47 hours in you could have seen
we were just about to get there.
The general idea of vaginas.
That's not even the general idea of a vagina. That's like there's nothing, man. Like you can see them when you look at somebody from the front. Like I mean, they're not. This does not look like anything.
That's exactly what I imagined the women in the early 2000s when they were wearing those low rise jeans, and you were like, "Where the fuck is your vagina?" That's what I figured they look like, because it doesn't make sense.
I mean, like, look, you could take this and put bushes, add some foliage, right?
All I'm saying is, there's no reason they don't have pubic hair.
Yeah.
There is literally, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, you could keep their styled and conditioned hair, and like you don't have to have them have like hairy legs if you don't want. I mean, even I don't
add
give a
bush,
shit about that.
add pit hair.
Like, I don't know.
Cowards.
Come on.
Give them hairy feet.
Like hobbits. Anyway,
like freaky, sexy hobbits.
I've been reading the news all week, and I keep seeing like, you know, these headlines that come up. The Witcher 3's next gen vaginas were quote unquote unintended, devs say.
My favorite about the article is that the picture they use as the header is the Witcher giving a thumbs up.
Yes. On the first article. Yeah. Yeah.
Unintended female genitalia. Hey.
Yeah. Now I know that nobody cares, but also there was a second part of this update was also to address some performance issues. So last week we had a story about how like they fucked something up. So like if you have ray tracing turned on in the PC version of The Witcher, it runs better than if you turn ray tracing off, which like shouldn't be
weird.
They have apparently put out a hot fix that is supposed to fix that, but it's mostly fixed it. But I think people are saying that there's like the amount of performance that people are getting when turning ray tracing off is nowhere near what like you should be getting by disabling that like entire feature. So what CD Projekt Red performance issues? What? Telling you guys,
in front of all those landing strips, you guys are having performance issues. It's real awkward, embarrassing for you, CD Projekt Red.
Maybe that's why they reverted. They didn't want the ray tracing. They if the ray tracing hit that bush, it just like the whole game caught on fire and your computer exploded, and they were just like, "Oh,
you have to patch it before that ray tracing hits that bush."
Can't do it. It's too much. Too much.
This is already my favorite podcast I've ever been on. So
okay, so I think we have some slightly more. We've got a little bit more sexy news left to go.
Nice.
Yoko Taro, the maker of Nier Automata, is putting out a new game later this year, which is a cell phone.
I hope I can look up a girl's skirt in it.
A cell phone gotcha game. And it's got the weirdest premise of all time.
What's the premise?
So the premise, it's a Sega game, and the premise is that Sega has become like the most powerful corporation in the world. And so like,
a fantasy, huh?
So a complete and total fever dream. They don't even make fucking consoles anymore, these guys. See if I can find. Yeah, here's the
somebody
boring...
pitched the game to Sega, and they're like, in a future world where Sega becomes the biggest corporation, they're like, whatever it is, green light, go ahead, make it.
Well, it's fun. No, it's funny because I was reading some of the interview with Yoko Taro, who pitched this to Sega, and he said, "Well, I didn't think that Sega would want me to come in and tell them like how good they were, so I wrote this thing where they were like, there's the villain."
The villain, yeah.
So like, you see this trailer that they put out where just the Sega logo is on everything.
Yeah, it's like a computer virusing through these buildings.
Yep. And so the whole thing is that the Sega is everywhere and everything to all people. At the end, they show like they zoom out from the Earth and all the yellow lights are turning blue.
We are now Planet
logo.
Sega.
But the weird part about this is the fact that you are going to it's going to be like a gotcha game. You're going to hook up with you're going to go to battle the evil corporation at Sega. But what you will be battling the corporation of Sega with is a team of waifus that are based on old Sega games.
Okay.
So like, let me see if I can find one in this thing. They show
the fuck is up with that moon face?
That's Yoko Taro. He does all interviews with that mask on. It's a character from one of his games. He's just a weirdo and he doesn't like to show his face.
Who isn't these days?
He'll come out on stage at E3 with that thing on and talk about the
he
game.
picked the scariest one, huh?
Well, it's a character.
Yeah.
it's a weird character.
But I'm saying like he could have picked any character he's ever made and he went
that one. Yeah. So so here's some of these waifus. Let me see. Okay, so this is Afterburner. The Afterburner game.
Okay.
But the waifu version of it.
Yeah,
she's got the giant
goddamn.
Chain guns. This is Virtua Fighter lady who's got a lot of big polygons. This is Virtua Cop who doesn't seem to know what she's doing or why.
I like the bomber jacket,
but has this weird. She has this.
Oh, it's like the gun
from Virtua Cop. But then she also has this tack vest, but
it's only just for the tum.
But her boobs are pushing it out of the way to the point where she's going to get shot directly in her boobage.
That is a delightful design. No, it's just like a cute design, and what a fun way they're like, look, she wears the tactical vest, but her titties are too big,
right?
So it just pushes it.
You just can't.
It just pushes them out of the way.
I can't do it. And then they have one more.
Sure, it's bulletproof, but is it booby proof?
That's Outrun. That's like the car game, and so this is the Outrun lady. She's got like big fenders and like and she's like,
that girl's got big fenders.
They modded in these new fenders. Oh damn it, I had a whole landing strip joke built into the not G-Lock, Afterburner lady. So
oh damn it.
So there's
that's cute. I mean, they're cute designs for sure.
So yeah, this is a thing that's happening later this year.
Weird.
I don't know. I feel like we live in a time of many, many waifus. Like, do you want to lust after anime girls? Like, take your pick.
Yeah, your time is now, weirdo.
Yep. We've got all the anime girls that you could ever want, and then if you ever run out, you can go over to the AI generators and start making more.
Develop a new one. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a weird thing that I saw.
That was a weird thing that happened one time.
Yep. Okay, now for the second sexiest game of all time.
Nice.
Let us talk about Armored Core 6. Because apparently Armored Core 6, which is the new FromSoft Big Mech game that they're making, has been in a war on Steam.
A war against whom?
a war against the users of Steam who are little horrible gremlins who just hate life and they want to screw things up for you.
Yeah.
And what you can see is that they keep posting stuff, and then like the users of Steam keep adding like tags like sexual content or dating simulator or like adorable.
Is it just because they think it's funny, or?
Yes, it's because they're horrible gremlins and they don't care. But what happens is that like they keep making these updates, and then Bandai Namco will like email Steam, and so like they'll take down dating simulator and it'll come with like action combat, and then they'll put in like cute. And then cute will be replaced with dark, and they'll put in relaxing, and it will be replaced with vehicular combat. So
you know, like you do.
I personally think that I personally don't think that it's worth fighting them on, because they're obviously have nothing to do and are bored. And so,
well, does that affect? I mean, adding tags, does that affect what they're getting searched on for?
Yes.
Well,
it would affect, like, if you go to the genres page.
Yeah, I think then maybe only Steam should worry about that. Like, if I were my game, I'd be like, whatever, I don't give a shit, tag it what you want. But, like, Steam should worry about people going on looking for dating sims and ending up with
Armored Core 6.
Armored Core 6. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know. Like, there's of all the platforms in the world, Steam actually does have like a full refund policy. Like, you can get all of your money back. So if you're going to screw around anywhere, I feel like it would be Steam. I mean, maybe.
Also, why do we allow the fans to tag? You know?
Why do we allow the fans to review video games on Steam? And why does it
Solid question.
Why does it only have a thumbs up or thumbs down? It's got no like Like,
yeah.
I'm not saying you have to put a 10 score in there, but like
yeah,
that's a legitimate ranking for a video game, is not and not nah, but
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of people write Steam reviews where they're like, well, you know, I couldn't remap 2 of the controls in this game for my 5-button mouse, so I'm giving it a thumbs down. And it's just like, what about the story? What about the graphics? What about the soundtrack?
Anything?
What about the
But
gameplay?
there are people that you could give them fucking 5-star ranking options, and they'd be like, 1 star, can't do. You know what I mean? Like, just because people work on a binary.
I have $1 million idea, by the way, about that. Specifically about that.
Give it to all of us.
No, I will, because I'm not going to do it. I'm too busy talking about vaginas on the RageSelect podcast.
Yeah,
right?
obviously.
Man, come on. It takes a lot of time. I don't do a lot of research for that.
Trying to find out what a vagina was.
Yeah, I had to go to the dictionary. I looked at my pants. That's not what that is. Okay. No, okay, so you know how everybody's using AI for everything, right?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to train a specific AI that can go to like Metacritic and like look at all of the user reviews and remove any that have the words woke, SJW, diversity, or like that general gist.
Libs or something.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
you should like
Democrats and I would just want to take those scores out and be like, what is it if I take those scores out? Because the thing is that, you know, if I'm looking to go watch Encanto and it's got a 4 or a 5 on Metacritic, and then I do that, and it's like, oh, it's 9.6 now, and it's like, okay, well, then I'm probably going to enjoy this movie because I don't give a shit about libs or woke or SJWs. All I care about is whether the movie's
like a filtering system, so you can just like, look, if they're saying this, I don't want to hear it. If they're saying that.
Also, I think you could get deeper with it if you could teach it how to like then look at people giving the movie a 10 and see if they're like, if their review history is all 10s, then like subtract 2 from that 10 review, because they're obviously they're just doing the Steam system where they're like thumbs up or thumbs down. They're giving it a 0 or a 10, and that's stupid. There's nuance in the world. There's shades of gray. You can't give every movie a 10. Every movie is not the best movie you've ever seen. That's just.
Or I want to live in the world that you live in, where everything is just like, I just watched this movie. Wow! They go to the movies the next week. I just saw this movie. Wow!
Actually, I think I would be more inclined to remove those reviews from the thing, because it's like, oh, you have no critical thought. You're like a you're like a child with jingly keys.
I once had a conversation with my mom about movies, and I'm like, yeah, but you can like tell a movie is a good movie versus a bad movie. And she went, I can find something enjoyable in every movie I watch, even if it's just one scene or one actor or one moment. And therefore, all movies are good movies. And I was like, I'm never asking you to ever recommend a movie to me.
The most important thing in the world when it comes to content recommendations is vetting the person, not the review, is being like, how close do you and I's tastes line up? And then I can be like, okay, so then if you tell me it's a 10, I'm like, that's maybe 50-50. But then if like, you tell me it's a 10, I'll be like, I'm going tomorrow. So... yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
From there, we had a very strange story about Team Fortress 2.
Why is it strange?
So, first off, it's strange because Team Fortress 2 is, Team Fortress 2 has not been updated in a while. I think it got a Halloween update like a year or two ago, and it is infested with bots now. I think you and I have talked about that on the show
that
before.
game's just playing itself at this point.
Right. So they basically came out and they said that they were that they're going to do a big update. In fact, what they said was they were going to do an update-sized update as opposed to just like a content pack. And they said that they're basically going to be, they were requesting submissions from individual users for content that they have made for the game that they might be like rolling into what they're doing with this update. And then who knows, maybe even more. And then the community got so goddamn excited that they literally toned it down a little bit. Like they toned the blog post down a little bit. Like they took out the like, and who knows what else we'll do. They just like took that out and they were like,
too much.
Yeah. Which then, because I don't know why you would think that then that would be okay.
Yeah.
Has like enraged the Team Fortress 2 fans.
Yeah. First of all, Team Fortress 2 fans. What the fuck are you guys still Team Fortress 2 fans?
I don't
Do you know what I mean? Like, we gotta move on. We got a collective. Team Fortress 2 is the fucking Firefly of video games.
It's been around for so long. They should just make Team Fortress 3. Like, make a new one. I would love to see those new characters in a new game that also had maybe 2 more characters and some different maps and some new stuff.
That would be nice.
Yep. I mean, I don't know. On the other hand, like, why even bother? Because it's Valve, and they just make money by Steam. So, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Because you have people on your fucking payroll that make video games. I don't know. It's just me talking on podcast.
You know how Valve works, though, right? Internally.
You can work on whatever you want to work on.
You can work on whatever you want to work on. Like, you just gotta. If you're uninterested, you don't have to work on that. You can go find the thing that you're interested in working on. Like, what a terrible way to run a company.
Yeah, they make so much money. It's fine.
Hire some people to work on it, for God's sake.
Yeah. That would require... So I feel like Gabe is just like not a boss.
Yeah.
And it has somehow worked out in his favor. Mm-hmm. Where normally if you're not that kind of person, it would just like, you get wildly successful and then it crumbles underneath you. And for some reason, it has not crumbled for him.
Well, I mean, the thing is that as if Steam wasn't good enough, then we also have the Steam Deck, which has been wildly successful. So like, there's no incentive at this point to be like, hey, what about what I want? And everyone's like, nobody cares what you want, Jeff.
Who are you? Yeah.
I want Portal 3. Nobody's making Portal 3, even though that Aperture Science game from last year was
that was so fun.
One of the best games I played.
Stupid.
And I really wish that they would make more of it.
Yeah. So. Come on, Gabe.
Yeah, come on.
Where's his email? We got to email Gabe.
Speaking of games that are 1 million years old, Minecraft is getting a new update, which happens all the time. But this one is adding in a brand new biome. So they're getting cherry blossoms.
For special time. That looks pretty.
They're getting cherry blossom trees, and then they're also getting archaeology as a thing that they can do, where you can go out into the desert and like
just like dig
and find artifacts, and if you like, you have to be really careful about getting them, and then if you can put them together into like decorations that you can then put in your house and stuff. And then there's also
that sounds like Animal Crossing got into them a little bit, because you can, you'd like discover fossils and then you can use them in display.
Yeah, and then there's also a new mob called the Sniffer.
The fuck?
That looks a lot like that one SCP that's like the undying lizard or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you're 100% right. The fuck? It's just hard to look at.
Yep. And look how big it is.
Oh my god, you just like jump on one of those and run away.
No, you do. Because the thing is, you can set them to search for things. Like you have to dig the eggs up using the archaeology, and then like bring them to like the dodos of Minecraft.
Yeah,
and then you can set them to like look for specific things.
That's awesome.
But
fun little guys.
It's kind of crazy how Minecraft is still getting content.
Yeah, well, I mean, people forget that Minecraft was like in beta for so long.
Yep.
That people thought it was already released, and then when it got released, it was like this big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like entire YouTube careers were created before the game actually came out, based on making content for a game that hadn't actually been released yet.
Man, I do not know how early people played Minecraft before, like when you just had to like know which slots to put what thing into.
I know.
That was when I first tried to play it. That was the reason I stopped playing. I was just like, well, what do I do now? And they're like, here's the crafting thing. And I was like, well, what do I do now?
Yeah, but what do I do with the crafting thing? And then you'd only know if you watch other people play it. How did they know first?
Yeah. So, yep. But Minecraft still out there. Still
crafting.
Snuffling along.
Yeah.
The Sniffer. That just
that's not
the best.
That's
name.
like the Flash's worst enemy. Like it's just like real low on the rogues gallery.
I knew it was you, the Sniffer.
Yeah.
The scent of cherry blossoms.
How could you tell? Just like fully.
This is just like a giant nose for a head, but like with a big mustache that comes out and like attacks people.
Oh my god.
The Sniffer.
The Sniffer.
Speaking of stupid shit,
go on.
The Day Before is back in the news. This has been a very strange saga. So The Day Before is like this online. I think you're the only one who hasn't seen this yet, as far as. I podcast with you. I podcast with Michael. I podcast
you
with Bryce.
You turned and looked at my confused face and was like, I haven't talked to you about this before.
Yeah. So The Day Before is this really mediocre looking like zombie survival MMO third-person shooter.
Okay.
Where like you're
that old chestnut.
You're in like an apocalypse, and you're like scrounging for resources with other players and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I saw some video of it. Looks terrible.
Okay.
But it's like really really wish listed on Steam, like super duper wish listed. But there's been this thing where the company that made this is not like a for real company. They're like a weird developer collective.
Okay.
And like whoever's doing their PR sucks real bad. Like last week, I think we had the story where they came out and they like put out a statement that was like, hey, the last thing that we all need in this world is negativity. So you guys should just fucking, we're going to devote our lives to making good things instead of worrying about what people say on Twitter. And it was like, okay, because before that,
weird.
They were supposed to put out a gameplay demo, and they came out and they said, we're not going to do that because somebody snaked the copyright for The Day Before from us, and our Steam page got taken down because the company that registered the copyright literally was like, hey, Steam, that's not me.
Yeah.
Here is my documentation. Take this shit down.
Yeah.
The part that came out later was that they announced this game with that name before they had even registered the copyright. So the day they put the trailer out, somebody in Asia was just like, mine, baby.
What I can do, yeah. Seriously, though, why do people not, like, of all things to not do? It's just so stupid.
I don't know. So this week they put out a statement saying first Steam, because their YouTube started taking down their videos.
Yeah.
Because this guy came out and was like, I own the copyright to the day before. You take this down. This is not me.
Yeah.
So they put out a statement this week saying first Steam and then YouTube removed some of the day before videos from our channel due to a trademark dispute. 3 facts. 1, the so-called quote-unquote owner of the rights to the title is the creator of the calendar app, which has nothing to do with the game's category. 2, after we announced the game in 2021, he also wanted to take over the title and filed for trademarks ahead of us. Why would you announce it before you filed for trademark?
Yeah.
Why would you do that first?
Yeah.
Like, protect your fucking intellectual property. 3, he ambiguously offers to contact him to discuss something. But what? Probably he wants money from you for the trademark that you failed to register. We'll fight.
You played yourself.
Power is in the truth. And it's like, what are you going to fight?
Yeah.
You either registered the trademark or you didn't.
Yeah.
Like, if I come out with a brand new snack cracker called Landing Zones, and then somebody else like Nabisco just checks and says, did he register the trademark? No, let's do it. And then like comes out and is like, hey, we took that name is ours now, because it doesn't matter who said anything, it's who like legally owns it. And then I'm like, I'm gonna fight this. And
the power's in the truth, and that's like, the truth is you took too long.
Yeah, the truth is you suck.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's the truth.
I feel like, come on, guys.
Like, this isn't a righteous like cause. Yeah. You're not fucking Paul Muad'Dib, but like you're just.
I just can't.
What did you do?
Understand why no one thought about it. Like,
I do.
All things.
I think I do, and it's because they're a bunch of yahoos. Like, they're not a company. They're a weird collective of like, you know, who wants to do PR? Oh, Cindy, you've got experience? Sure, you can do the PR. Yeah. All right, Cindy, we're going to put the trailer out. Do we need to know anything beforehand? No? Okay, cool. Everybody launch the trailer. And then like that was like a year ago.
Yeah.
And then suddenly their Steam page got taken down. They were like, wait, we didn't. Who was supposed to do the trademark?
Yeah.
And
what's a trademark?
This is why it helps a lot of times to have like those boring people at your company.
Yeah.
Who like, you know, go, okay, here's what you do when you make a game is you're going to need to get the rights. You're going to need to register the Instagram, the YouTube channel, the Discord. I'm going to spend all afternoon registering landing zones on every platform.
This is when being a wrestling fan is relevant, because if there's anything wrestling fans know about, it's filing trademarks for things that are really important.
Yeah.
All the time. Yep. Character names, move names, event names. It's happening nonstop.
So, yeah, apparently the day before is like a South Korean calendar app.
Okay.
But it exists.
Yeah.
So, you know, like,
wow, that's even harder for them than to take it down, because it's not even just like, well, I own this. It's like I have a thing that actually exists.
Yep.
With that name that's probably existed for longer than when that story came out. And they went.
I think that this was released in January of this year.
Oh.
And I think that the day before I think that they basically
they were like,
they snapped at the trademark, but then I don't think that Fan4Stick or whatever, the company that is making that, I don't think they even realized it. So they literally, I think that these guys snapped up that copyright, made a shitty calendar app, released it, and then they were like, okay, now we have both the copyright and an established product. Take them down, and you know that the whole point of this is to be like, okay, now you're going to give us
money,
like $100,000 for this trademark, or else we're just going to block your game that's supposed to come out this year. Yeah. So like, get your shit together, guys. Don't get online and pretend like you've got a cause.
Yeah, the cause is you guys are dumb.
You've got an administrative problem that needs to be fucking figured out. Like, change the name of your game. It's not even a good name.
Yeah.
It's not even a good name. It's just a zombie thing. Call it fucking, you can have Landing Zone. That makes as much sense as anything else.
Well, you can, but for a price, because I've already trademarked.
Oh, no. How could the same thing happen twice? Son of a bitch. Yeah, call it Giggle Town, USA.
Oh my God.
Like, the rotting carcass. Just the word carcass. Nobody's using that, right?
Dead body.
Bon Jovi. Just call it Bon Jovi.
That's not trademark.
But like Bon Mi, like BAHN. Is there a Vietnamese Bon Jovi cover band?
I was like, son of a bitch. Wait, hang on a minute.
Hold on for a second. Wait, fuck this podcast. I gotta go register this trademark.
My calling.
I'm gonna come up with food-themed cover bands. That's my
perfect.
Okay. All right.
Dream career.
In other really stupid news, we did have one NFT story this week.
God damn it!
No, but you'll notice that we don't have many NFT stories anymore.
Yeah,
we just have this
dying.
one. Well, for everybody but Square Enix.
God, Square Enix.
Square Enix sold off Tomb Raider and Deus Ex so that they could invest more into the NFT market. So
that's more embarrassing than anything in this whole world.
Yep. So basically, they're making a game. Well, I don't know. I use the quotey fingers. Just imagine quotey fingers every time I say the word Symbiogenesis, which is not a good name for a thing.
No,
confuses people.
Doesn't roll off the tongue or anything.
Yep. So we got some details on Symbiogenesis, like what exactly it will be. And here is that. Everybody just get your soup blinders on because it's a soup. Symbiogenesis will offer a unique experience built around digital collectible art that is tied to a storyline players will unfold in a virtual adventure. The art evolves with each strategic move a player makes. The project is set on a mysterious floating continent where unique storylines unravel based on information obtained by holding digital collectible arts that represent different characters. Players can unlock numerous engaging stories about the secretive world and its inhabitants by holding or trading digital collectible arts and can earn them by completing various missions. This sounds incredibly stupid. It also, I'm pretty sure, is going to be either a phone or a browser game.
Yeah. No, thank you.
And yeah, the other weird thing though in here was where is it? Like they talk about NFTs. Players can use Polygon NFTs as utility items and freely trade them within the ecosystem. NFT collectibles can also be used as profile pictures and other ways by examining the world and finding various items. The NFTs allow players to access secret stories as holders can determine if they want to keep the secret or share the information with others. And then here's the other thing that was weird. They talked about the ending of the game. Like they said that only 3 players that, quote, meet specific conditions will be chosen to participate in the final world mission to decide the fate of the world and its inhabitants. And as near as I can tell, it's like you've got to have like a specific NFT in order to beat the game. All this sounds terrible.
Yeah, none of that sounds fun to me.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a fun thing to do.
I don't understand.
A lot of
who pitched NFTs to all these video game companies?
I don't know. Fortunately, they're almost done. Like this is the last one that's doing anything.
Yeah.
Like Ubisoft phased most of their shit out. Most of the other companies, like some of them announced a thing, and then when they saw the reaction, they were like, JK, y'all.
Psych.
But apparently Square Enix, like with everything they do, is late to the party and did not get the memo because they're just
gonna lean into it,
hell bent on this shit. So you can read the full article of this. I mean, I know what Eurogamer has a pretty good breakdown on it, but like, I sometimes I think I also forget that like the suits at the top don't understand what fun is. They don't understand that joy or happiness, or they don't understand how you could get those things from playing a video game.
Yeah. It's just like numbers. It's like they look at the screens in the Matrix, you know? Then they don't actually see.
Yeah.
They're just like numbers going by.
I think the thing that's always very strange to me, though, is that if that was your life and you were able to realize that you didn't actually know what was fun and what wasn't, I feel like what I would do is go hire somebody to explain, not teach me, but just evaluate.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you an idea. You tell me if you think that could be a fun thing at some point.
Yeah.
So, but no.
Boo! Get out of here.
In other Square Enix news, Forspoken got a big patch on the PC that fixed a bunch of weird stuff. None of it, I don't know. The headline for this was that it's supposed to address like graphics and stuff, but it's all a bunch of weird shit. Like one of the side buttons can't be deleted on 5-button mouse configurations, and like the Steam Deck now runs it at 1280 by 800, and there's some like apparently when you were putting the detail level to low, like the characters have a bunch of crap on them, and so it was like it should just remove items from characters.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How? I've just got to say, your microphone has shocked me like 8 times in the last story. I'm just like getting fucking beat up over here.
Oh, man. My chair has so much static electricity in it that when it touches my desk, it makes all my monitors turn off due to static. So there's literally a dryer sheet underneath the thing I'm sitting on.
That's amazing.
And it is run out of dryer sheetiness, and so my static problems are back.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm horrified that we're going to record this podcast and you're going to static electricity lose it all.
Or
gain superpowers. But you're on the wrong article at the time and you ended up with the landing strip, and that's it.
Oh, no! Electric landing strip.
That's what they'll call you in the Flash's room.
I'm Electric Landing Strip, lead singer of Bon Jovi. Also, Forspoken has apparently already gotten slashed, has its price slashed in some places.
I don't even fucking
throw an online retailer, but
I know not of this game, and if I did know of it, I forgot it.
It was like the Square Enix game that came out last month, and it was like an isekai. So it's like this lady in New York that gets transported to a fantasy world.
Oh, I think you told me about
talking cuff.
Yeah.
They laid it on like really thick at the beginning, where she's like an orphan who's getting bullied by gang members, who has to go to court, who's homeless, and her house burns down, along with all the money that she saved on the day before she was going to leave town. And also it's Christmas, and also it's her birthday, and it's just like, Jesus, guys, I get it. It's fine.
So she's having a bad day.
She's having a bad day.
She had a bad day.
Yeah, they really put a lot of weird thought into this. I don't know. Why would you play Forspoken when in just a few weeks you'll be able to play that new Horizon game if you have a PlayStation? The PlayStation Plus games for next month were announced, and one of them, starting February 21st, is Horizon Forbidden West. So if you held off on getting that, you can totally get it. Also,
I did hold off on getting that.
They're putting RE7 on there as well as a bunch of other good stuff. The Quarry.
Name another good one, Jeff. Go ahead. Name one.
Some people like Scarlet Nexus. A lot of people like Borderlands 3. Tekken 7 I don't think is a bad game.
Yeah.
Earth Defense Force 5 has a lot of bugs in it. So, but like giant ants.
The good kind, not the bad kind.
Exactly.
Well, they're still bad, but they're good for being bad.
They're bad, but you can shoot them with machine guns.
And that's really all I want.
That's really all you want. Okay. All right, Amanda. Listen. Yes. We're almost out of time on part 1 here.
Nice.
But I have some stories. I have 2 stories that I think you specifically will be quite interested in.
Are we going back to sexy stories then, or?
I guess it depends on how
Because I was really
sexy.
all in on the sexy stories, and then you really fucking took the wind out my sails with the NFTs.
Yeah.
Never been drier, Jeff.
Good God Almighty. How sexy is Alan Wake?
7 out of 10.
Okay.
Smash. Smash or pass, Alan Wake.
Who is sexier, Alan Wake or Jesse from Control?
Jesse from Control.
Okay. Alan Wake or that one guy from Quantum Break?
Alan Wake. I don't even.
Alan Wake or Max Payne?
Oh.
That's the final bracket matchup, right? So apparently, Remedy reported a bunch of different stuff. Mm-hmm. Part of it is that their overall profits dipped a little bit last year. I mean, they didn't put anything out.
Yeah.
Actually, they put out that Alan Wake Remastered, which apparently did not sell super duper well. I don't think that was actually a game that was going to sell really well because Alan Wake's been around forever.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know what they were expecting, but it was probably too much.
And it also wasn't really super duper marketed. Like they didn't really hype the shit out of it or anything. They actually think that they're going to get a bump when Alan Wake 2 comes out. But this news indicated that Alan Wake 2 is now playable from start to finish.
Ooh.
It is content complete. So all that's left is basically bug fixing, polish, and stuff, which is good because that game is supposed to be out this year at some point.
Nice.
So even though we've seen very little of it.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Every other day, what's his name? Sam Lake tweets a confirmation that Alan Wake 2 is coming out. And it's literally like one sentence of just like, Alan Wake 2 has been confirmed. And it's, we know!
Well, you guys asked me for 10 years. You go fuck yourself.
I love it. It's funny to follow him.
The other thing that's really interesting about this is that they also said that Remedy is going to be releasing one game a year from now forward.
So like Alan Wake 2, Control 2, Quantum Break.
They have
0.5.
So they have Control 2 is in the apparently Control 2 has like kind of finished like pre-production and is starting to go into like actual production. But they have a live service game that they're making with Tencent. They have the multiplayer Control mode, which has been in development since Control came out, which I think will be out at some point.
Okay.
And then they have another unannounced project in addition to that because during 2021 Remedy like really staffed up. Like they hired a shitload of people. Like everybody apparently did.
Not me. They didn't hire me.
Did you ask?
Yeah, I asked. It's Remedy. Are you kidding me?
I was like, hey, what do you guys?
No joke. Every couple of months, I look up Remedy. I look up Double Fine, and I look up. I guess it's just them now.
Why not Devolver? They're here in town.
Sometimes I look up Devolver, but they're never hiring.
I emailed them one time where I was just
You're like, please.
I just emailed them and I was like, hey, I'm Jeff. I run this YouTube channel. I love you guys. Do you need anything? I'll do whatever,
you guys
man.
Like, I can send you pizza.
Yeah, and they were just like, no, we're not hiring right now, but but thanks. And I was like, oh, okay. But
and then I sent my dick pic, and they never responded.
This could be good news. The knock against it is that Remedy also made the single-player campaign for Crossfire X.
I was gonna say, don't they also like take on these other games where it's just like clearly not their baby?
I think that's the only one that they've really done.
Okay.
The main thing is like Control was an Epic exclusive, and I know they got a shitload of money from Epic, which allowed them to be more independent. One of the big things that Remedy is doing right now, which could either work out really well for them, it's actually a really interesting read if you guys are into any industry news, is Remedy is self-financing most of these projects to a larger extent than they ever had before, because like Alan Wake was like funded by Microsoft, and so they took the funding, they made the game, and then they didn't get as much in the residuals because they got paid up front to make the game.
Right.
The same way with, I think, Control, a lot of it went back to Epic for the big chunk of money that they gave them up front for it. So they've taken a lot of the money that they've earned over the last few years, and they're trying to basically staff up to be able to be more independent so that when these games sell,
they actually
get money,
reap more from it.
Yeah, which is great if you can make them sell.
Yeah.
But like, I've never seen Remedy release more than one game every 5 or 6 years.
They're doing like an Alan Wake television show still, right? Do you remember that? Do you remember that news?
I do not.
Did I dream that?
Sounds like it. Are they making an Alan Wake television
AMC?
show? Okay.
Am I?
Bright Falls. No, wait. There was a show? Okay, wait. This is May of last year. Oh, that's like a different thing. Yes. Let's see. One of Remedy's biggest
the showrunner in 2022. So last year in June, the showrunner left. Peter Calloway left, but they didn't say that was the end of it. But that might be delaying the development of it.
Okay,
and that's the last news that we've heard from it. But AMC has bought the rights to do an Alan Wake television show.
Okay, you know what they should do? They should give it to that dude on Netflix that everybody likes. It did like the the horror guy that did like the haunting.
Guillermo del Toro.
No. The guy
You're talking about that did like the Haunting of Bly Manor. And, oh my god.
The guy that everybody likes.
I can't think of his name. Give me a second, and it'll just bother me if I. Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan. He would probably make a good Alan Wake show, even though I've never watched any of his stuff. So
his stuff's good.
Yeah.
I mean, he does a lot of. He did. What was that Stephen King movie with Ewan McGregor? The Shining sequel.
Oh, Mr. Sleep, Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
Dr. Sleep. Anyway, we're now off on movie tangents yet again, which means it's time for a break. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we do have more news. I don't know. We might end up. You and I might be. Amanda might be the secret key to getting questions answered because
hell yeah, more questions.
This is a slow news week, and I don't know how fast we're going to get through this stuff.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, join us back here. Who knows what's going to happen?
I don't. Do you?
Yes.
We're back.
Yes, we are back.
Twice the dryer sheets and half the electricity.
I forgot to get the dryer sheets.
Oh, no.
It's more like... Also, you're petting my dog, which is just like... That's just static incarnate right there.
Just so we're clear, I am getting electrocuted by the microphone while petting the dog. And once I stop petting your dog, no
more electrocutions.
Maybe your dog has the superpower.
Maybe I just need to bring my humidifier into this room.
But yeah, could also be that.
Okay, so let's see how many stories we can do here. I didn't know about this, but apparently there is a possibility that Hi-Fi Rush might have had a secret Easter egg for potentially The Evil Within 3. Mm-hmm. So apparently this is a very, very, very fast thing, but towards the end of the game, there's like an elevator thing or a level. I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
But down at the bottom, it's got a little news thing. It says, today's weather, good enough. And then below that, it says, sequel to popular survival horror game franchise announced.
Could be anything.
Yeah. Who knows?
They did a reference Evil Within with the robots. They had two robots that were made to look like the...
Sebastian Castellanos or whatever his name is, and the other guy, Joseph Oda.
John played it when he was like, who do these characters remind me of? They're definitely a reference to something. And then like my brother texted me like not too long after that, was like, did you guys catch the Evil Within reference? We're like, oh, that makes sense. We're stupid.
I don't know how you didn't know. We played all the way through that goddamn video game.
I know, but I was so distracted by like adorable robots.
Did he have a vest? Did the robot have a vest on?
They were like full. They had facial hair and everything.
Oh, I gotta see what this looks like. Hold on, let me search Hi-Fi Rush. There we go. How about some Google Images?
There they are.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Second, Yep. See, do you see? Yep. I looked at it and was just so like, that's adorable that I just wasn't thinking about it.
Oh, there you go. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Cool. So who knows? I mean, I would be. Like, I like the Evil Within 2.
Hell yeah.
It would be great for an Evil Within 3.
That's just because you'd want to do another sequential.
Full
next
playthrough.
Sequential.
Maybe. Let's see. Now we have to talk about Microsoft. I saved it as long as I could, but we have a few things that we have to talk about.
All right.
One of the most interesting things about all of the Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard deals has been the fact that because a lot of it is being dealt with by regulatory agencies and court cases and briefs and whatnot, we're getting a lot more information than we normally would get because normally the video game industry is very tight-lipped. One of the things that we found out this week from the UK Competition and Market Authority, the CMA, was that apparently when they looked at the numbers, Microsoft said that games that are put on Game Pass have their overall sales depressed for like a year. Now, I think that any normal person would say, well, no shit, Sherlock. Like, if it's on Game Pass, who's going to buy it? But the thing is that when Game Pass first launched, Microsoft was out there saying, like, we've seen, like, the State of Decay 2 was on Game Pass, but then we also saw this huge spike in sales that was like way above what we normally would have seen.
Yeah.
The idea that like the people with Game Pass are kind of Streisand affecting this thing, and then they're encouraging other people to go buy it.
Yeah.
The main thing is that most of the examples that they had, which I believe were Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2, those like 2018 games. So I think as like Game Pass became more clear of a value proposition, more people got it. So fewer people were like, I'm just going to get it on Game Pass, as opposed to I'm going to buy $60 games as opposed to spending $20 a month on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we found that out. I don't know that was like quite a bombshell or anything. We also have had the report from Microsoft that let's see. I'm trying to think of which way to do this. Yes, this way. I'm not even going to do that story. Activision is making people go back to work.
Like in office?
In office, yeah. Which, like, I think is mostly... I mean, there's a lot of companies that are doing that. I think it's stupid, personally.
Yeah.
But...
As somebody who has to work at their job, like, I can't do what I do.
You can't remote work?
It sucks, because you can tell... Now more people are going to the office because I'm hitting traffic like fucking crazy. And you can tell that most companies have Fridays off, so less traffic. It's very interesting to see.
Yeah. Anyway, more to the point of the acquisitions, Bobby Kotick has been making the rounds on a lot of financial programs. Last week, I believe he was talking to, I'm not sure if this is the same thing, but I know he was talking to Fox Business, where Michael and I had to, hold back the gag reflex and say that, like, Bobby Kotick is kind of making a point that, like, he makes a little bit of a point where he talks about how if the UK CMA blocks that the Microsoft Activision acquisition, that like the UK right now is trying to make a push to become like a technology center for Europe, and that like if you start blocking like technology company acquisitions, you will not become a major technology center, because technological agencies buy and sell each other all the time.
Yeah.
And so if every one of them is going to have to go through a whole lot of scrutiny, then like that's going to be...
Yeah, it's not going to work out.
Yeah. This week, though, we had a different thing where basically he talked about how... This week, he was trying to make the case that the regulators that are considering this deal don't know very much about the industry. This is actually something that's been that's happened before, where they will trot out, because one of the biggest contention points is Call of Duty, and like if Microsoft owns the company that makes Call of Duty, that they would take Call of Duty away from the PlayStation, and that would hurt PlayStation.
Right.
The retort to that is Call of Duty is a first-person shooter military game. There is no reason why Sony can't make their own first-person shooter military game.
Yeah.
There's nothing specific about this concept that is locked to Activision.
Yeah.
Like, they do it better than anyone else, and they've spent a lot of time building that.
They also cultivated like quite a fan base for it.
Yeah, the reputation.
That even if it's like just as good of a game, Call of Duty fans are exclusively Call of Duty fans a lot of times.
The strange thing is that here's the other thing, though, that I think is kind of interesting, is that so there was this lady that's like a counsel over at, was it Activision or was it Microsoft? Was it Blizzard? There was this lady named Lulu Chang Messerevi that made this kind of weird tweet about well, like, if Sony is so threatened, then how do you explain the Last of Us TV show that is, like, all super well received and blah, 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 blah. Bobby Kotick made a slightly better case for this in this particular article, which is a PC Gamer article, where he basically talks about how, like, when people are considering the anti-competitive practices that the anti-competitive results of Microsoft acquiring Activision, they're looking at it specifically in terms of video games. But like, Sony owns TV production studios. Sony owns like 35% of the music industry. Like, Sony, PlayStation is an arm of Sony, but the other things that they own actually give them more overall power in this industry than just like raw sales numbers, because they can do a thing like make a deal with HBO to make a show that they can then bring both added attention back to their game from people who would never know, who are non-gamers, as well as revenue from a continued relationship with like a media company, and how Microsoft doesn't have any of that. Now, the counterpoint to that is that Microsoft, at the end of the day, I know that people probably are tired of hearing me talk about this, but like Microsoft is orders of magnitude bigger than Sony. Like the entirety of Sony. And it's because every single goddamn computer that gets sold
pays
Microsoft. Microsoft Office is still a thing that a lot of places have. Microsoft has a lot of power in the computing industry, which I think to me is somewhat offsets the idea that Sony has power outside of video games with their movies and music and stuff like that. Well, Microsoft also has powers outside of video games when it comes to just like operating systems and applications and technology. Sony doesn't have an operating system that they can put on everything. Sony doesn't have like an office product that they can sell to corporate businesses, right? So it's an interesting...
If you ever want to think about how big Microsoft is, think about the fact that a good chunk of jobs that you apply for have a requirement of experience using Excel and like
Word, Outlook,
so like it's definitely huge that
absolutely. So, but it's an interesting intellectual exercise to think about. Like, you've got the two kind of gaming sides of things, but then both of those companies have a whole separate section. And if you're considering it as a whole, like, what is more powerful?
Do you think to work at Sony, you have to be good at Excel?
Probably.
Do you think they hate that they have to put that on their job?
They just announced, we're moving to Linux. Everybody's using Linux from now on. But yeah, it's interesting. I've become fairly neutral about this because I can see both like good reasons and bad reasons. I'm not the biggest fan of the way that Microsoft has been hoovering up companies, especially because you can point to what they've done with the companies that they've already acquired and say, like, Starfield, which is basically like Space Elder Scrolls, is going to be Microsoft console exclusive to the Xbox. And that's big. Like, that's, Todd Howard's next game. Like, put Skyrim on fucking everything. Like, that could be a huge thing. So the idea of them taking... it's the idea of them getting Call of Duty and then eventually taking it off PlayStation could happen. On the other hand, I don't know that I believe... I mean, it might be the weird libertarian shit that I have left over from my conservative upbringing in me, but like the idea that like, is Sony owed access to Call of Duty? Like, does Sony must we preserve Sony's right to be able to put the war game on their console? Like, they didn't make it, it's a good seller for them, but like, so is Destiny, and like they bought Bungie, so I don't know. The last one of these is that Sony is complaining right now because part of the deal here is that Sony keeps talking to regulators about how the Activision acquisition will impact their business. So Microsoft has now basically come out and subpoenaed Sony to say, show us your internal numbers so that we know that you're not lying. Like, you come out and they actually, this is one where Microsoft has a point, because a lot of the arguments that are being made by like the FTC, the CMA, the European Union are arguments that have been basically like lifted directly from testimony that Sony executives have given about why this acquisition would be bad for the video game industry. And so the thing is that Microsoft is now coming out and saying, prove it. I
mean,
show us the numbers. Show us your internal numbers that prove that this would be a huge blow to you. You can't just say like, oh, well, if we can't put Call of Duty out, then it's going to hurt us. You have to prove that it's going to hurt you. Apparently, though, Sony's current complaint is that Microsoft has subpoenaed so much internal data.
Yeah, they want it all, baby.
That it's ridiculous that they've literally come out with now complaints where they said that Microsoft is asking them for like internal employee evaluations and things like that.
Interesting.
Which, considering what I know about Microsoft, is not surprising because Microsoft is a throw everything at the wall and then whatever doesn't stick is fine. We'll just let that go.
Yeah.
But we're going to start by asking for the moon. And then if we have to settle for, Mercury, it'll be fine.
What's wrong with Mercury, Jeff?
It's smaller. So you can't do anything with it. It's so close to the sun. What are you going to do? You're going to land on Mercury. Come on. It's too hot.
You just barbecue on there and you leave.
Yeah. So, yeah, I find all this stuff to be relatively interesting. I don't know if after fucking 34 weeks worth of reporting on this, whether I'm not even reporting. I'm just reading stories and explaining them to people. So, but
reporting like you're a real reporter.
Hey, tell me what you got. I got the little hat. It says press on the side.
Perfect.
Yeah. So let's see. In other interesting legal news, Ubisoft is doing something, and Amanda, will be really interested to know your thoughts on this.
Okay.
So Ubisoft has decided, this is specifically happening in the UK, that like they have set up liaisons inside of the police department in this one kind of market in the UK.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find where it's at. Newcastle, I think. The Northumbria Police.
Northumbria.
So the idea here is like, if somebody reports another player and that player is saying things that are like way beyond like, I fucked your mother last night, like, I know where you live and I'm going to come to your house. I mean, it's not actually, there aren't any examples in this article, but like if what they're saying is like actionable and criminal, that Ubisoft will then like have a contact to be able to pass these messages / this reporting onto law enforcement officials. And apparently like at one time they did this, it was actually in another country in Europe. It was in like Wales, or no, not Wales, like the Netherlands or something like that.
Threat to life.
That Norwegian. So the UK authorities were then able to pass that request along to Norwegian authorities, who were then able to act on it. And a lot of this is Ubisoft kind of thinking about this concept of like, people won't play your game if they don't feel like they can be safe about it. But right now, like the worst thing that you can do is permaban somebody, right? But like if somebody says something really, really upsetting, like if they say they're going to come to your house and they know where you live and blah, blah, blah. If they make a threat that if you said it like in a public forum, you would get in trouble for doing that. You wouldn't be able to say that. You can't just threaten somebody. Like you can have charges filed against you for threatening somebody in a public fashion, right? So, but then the idea is, what do we think about this? About the idea that Ubisoft has to make the call?
That's
or any company. Sorry, I don't mean to keep cutting you off,
no, you're good. There's a lot of things here. So, one, like any woman playing on any game is going to have a million of those to report.
Right.
Just like most of your players. Because I think from like a guy's perspective, that might be like, oh, I had a really good game and this person got real pissed and was like, I'm gonna fucking murder you in your sleep or whatever. But like women will just play,
right?
And then you know what I mean. So one, that, two, just from a woman's perspective, which is the only perspective I have, cops don't even do, and this is also in the States, I don't know how it is in the UK, but cops have literally no authority or willingness to help women, as my example, because they're the ones that I know of that get threatened more often than not, even from physical stalkers, like people that are actually around, unless they act upon in violent manner.
Right.
So, you can tell the authorities all you want, but that doesn't mean anything's going to happen.
True.
So I don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea. I just know that it might not do anything more than just clog up
law enforcement. Yeah.
And then what they choose to do with it.
Yeah.
Is really dependent on how good the law enforcement is. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Telling them you're getting threatened when plenty of people in the world, there's so many examples of people in person getting threatened.
Yeah.
And then nothing happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Part of me is,
I appreciate the idea of trying to make it a better space for people and trying to really deter people from being pieces of shit in the gaming industry. Like,
yeah, I think that I've always maintained that, like, I think that more of an effort should be made to deter this stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Not just like, you said a bad thing, you get a 60-day ban or whatever, but like, no, you get we're going to ban you like as hard as we can.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to ban you as hard as we can. Like, again, I think it'd be interesting.
We know your name. Well, you can never buy any games on digitally ever again.
Right.
You're not allowed to use this console ever again or whatever.
Like, I mean, like, I would be willing to endorse. I mean, the thing is, I've been talking about this for a long time because to me, I really am not a fan of the just like shrug. What are you going to do? That's what it's like on the internet. And it's like, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. We're just not making, this is what happens when it's a free for all.
Yeah.
We're not attempting to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Like, I would be willing to, entertain a pilot program of like specific AIs that before you get banned, like, spider down your connection and try to get as much of your social media information and your name and your address and stuff. And then, like, if you try to make a second account, they're like, no, Joseph, I know who you are.
Yeah.
Like, you're not allowed to make another account.
Yeah, it's this weird thing of like people abusing the idea of like it's a free for all.
Yeah.
Mindset of the like, hey, the real world's not gonna coddle you and then you're gonna have to deal with it, so I'm being a piece of shit because I can. Except, like, in the real world, if you said some shitty things, you're gonna get punched in the fucking face.
Also, I mean, like, people a lot of times will talk about, I mean, a lot of times it'll come up as like a free speech thing, right? And like, again, free speech doesn't cover threats.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that. But also, I always take it one step further to be like, if you went to a Starbucks and you called the person at the register, if you gamer talked to the person, you Call of Duty lobbied at the person at the register, and you were just like, listen, bitch, go make me my fucking coffee. Like, I don't have to put up with landing strips like you or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that person could just be like, get out.
Yeah. No.
Like, I refuse to serve you. You don't have a right to be in here. Or if you had a job that you went to and you just started like mouthing off to people, we do enforce a certain amount of civility. Like, people talk a lot about free speech, but a lot of times it gets lost in the sauce of like, you're only allowed to talk like this on Reddit, man. Like, you're not allowed to talk like this.
Also, like, it's weird that people think that free speech means that they get absolutely no consequences in anything they fucking say. Like, that shit's nutty to me. Like, even if I say the right things, there are consequences to the things I say because somebody can decide they didn't like the way I said it, the tone I used, or you know what I mean? Like, it's for anything. So it's just really fucking weird. Like, you've worked in phone service. I've worked in phone service, and people think that they could talk to you any fucking way they want.
Yep.
And then you throw it down, and they always act fucking surprised when you go, that is abusive language, and if you continue, I will end this call. And they seem completely confused that there would be repercussions to being garbage people.
Yep. Also, you don't, like, just go out in public. If you see somebody talking like people talk to people in gaming lobbies in public, they get kicked out of the place that you are.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a guy in the park screaming slurs at people, they call the police who come and say, sir, madam, whoever, you have to leave.
Yeah.
Like, and you got to get out of here. Like, you can't do that. You're bothering everybody.
Exactly. And so, like, in the context of like what we're talking about with Ubisoft, I think it's important for them to try to find a correct way to deter that and punish people who are doing that.
Yeah.
But I think that like bringing in the law enforcement and connecting in with I don't know if that will actually do anything. I think maybe like the news of it would probably like, you know, people finding out and being like, oh, she can't fucking do that. I guess I'm not going to play Ubisoft games or whatever. But like that would probably do more than anything the cops are going to be able to do.
Sure. Yeah, true. I don't know. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting thing. I'd be interested to see if it goes anywhere, if this was just to like have a blurb in the news this week and then it all just kind of goes away. So let's see. Speaking of bad shit, we got to talk about Metroid Prime. So Metroid Prime remake came out. You and I played it.
Hell yeah.
Wandered around that second part to fight shit.
The comments were very sweet about it, though. So we're clear.
So there is a bit of a controversy, and this is yet again a credits controversy.
Mm-hmm.
So the credits for this Metroid Prime Remastered basically are all of the new people that worked on the remaster, and then there is a single card that says based on the work of Metroid Prime, and then like original development staff. Like none of the original people that worked on the game are credited in the credits for the remake. Also, anybody that like there were a bunch of people who did work at the very beginning and then moved off to other projects who were not directly credited. They were put under special thanks, and then people that like worked on it but then like got fired or left, their names were left out of the credits, like happens from time to time. I have there's been a few of these stories over the last few months. I've developed my stance on this, which is just like credit everyone,
just put their fucking names in it, man. Attention.
Yeah, I'm going to hit the A button to skip over the credits. If they want to wait for their name to come up and go, look, Mom, it's me. Yeah. Like, that's fine.
I think I was here for the last credit conversation, and I'm going to say the same fucking thing. If there are people that you think are more important, you put them in the part of the credit before the skip button shows up.
Right.
And then when you're like, and everybody else, skip button. And then I'll skip. I won't even read it. Yep. I'm not even going to read it.
Nope. So, yeah, what a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
Why do that?
That's some Mean Girls high school bullshit. Like, your name's not even on the credits. Like,
I mean, I figure at this point, like, maybe two more of these, and then whoever the credits people are might get the memo of just put
the fucking somebody's like my hand's cramping. I don't want to type it.
Put them in there.
Yeah.
You've got the spreadsheet. Just put them all in there. Like everybody submitted their thing. Put them all in there.
Yeah.
Because I mean, why not? Like this one is even more, I think, egregious than some of the other stuff because there was an entire team that made the game that you remastered. Like
and you the rested them.
Yeah, exactly.
Rough.
To me, this is way more important than like there was some guy that was mad about the doors didn't work. Like he made the art for the doors that open, and they changed it, and he was like, "I spent hours trying to make those doors look that way," and I'm like, "I don't give a shit. I'm not looking at the fucking doors."
Yeah, okay. Like I appreciate the effort, but like also,
come on, calm it down
right,
a little bit.
Know?
Let's see. In other Nintendo news, we also got the news that apparently $70 is not going to be the new price of Switch games. So
$100.
So last week we had the Nintendo Direct. It had Breath of the Wild 2, and one of the stories there was that Breath of the Wild 2 will be $70. I'm going to just finish the story and then I can talk about what I'm thinking about this. It was pointed out that this was going to be for like big first party games because like they also announced they put up pre-orders for the new Pikmin, and that is $60. So like, you know, it's not that every new game coming out on the Switch is going to be $70. I think it'll be interesting to see what this does. I do think that I have been under my overall that coffee's wearing off. My overall opinion on this is that the cost of everything has gone up. Yeah. But the cost of games has remained relatively static. If you want to charge more for games, I personally don't mind, especially the idea between $60 and $70, that's $10, which is actually very little. $10 won't get you all that much anymore. Yeah. It's like one lunch at Wendy's, maybe. But like the big question is, will the market bear that out? Like, if you make a game $70, will that depress your sales because people are like, I'm not going to pay $70 for that?
Yeah.
If I think that it's all right to charge more, then I think you charge whatever you want to for a video game.
Yeah.
But like, if you're going to charge, say, $100 for a video game, that better be the best video game I've ever played.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
This is different.
See, my problem with the prices going up for a Nintendo game is a lot of Nintendo games don't look nice, and they can look nice.
Yep.
Or nicer than they are, and it's gonna hurt to pay $70 for a game that doesn't look as good as it could.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I went back to go play original Breath of the Wild, and I forgot that like that game is 30 frames per second, like on the good parts, but sometimes when you turn the camera too fast, it is not.
Yeah, it's just a bit rough.
Yeah.
So it's a little, and I'm a Nintendo fan. I know I'm pretty biased on it, but like I'm also a poor. So I like don't love the idea of prices going up.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, man, I don't want to pay $100 for the next Pokemon game and it looked like the last Pokemon game looks. You know what I mean? Like, just
a run like the last Pokemon game ran.
And I played it and I enjoyed it, but I'm just saying, like, I also don't want to pay more money for that.
Yeah. It's become for me, it's become very difficult to go back because most of the stuff I'm playing now is on the PlayStation or the Xbox or my gaming PC.
Yeah.
And it's mostly in 4K and it's mostly running at 60 frames per second or with hella ray tracing. And with the Nintendo games, it's like, runs pretty good and it looks okay.
Yeah.
That's why I really enjoyed that Metroid game, was because that looked way better than a lot of the current.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked better than that Pokemon game that we played.
It did, yeah.
Right?
Genuinely, yeah. I mean, it's funny, and I like there's a lot of this like retro look that is really popular with people right now, to do the like pixelated this or the 6-bit that or 16-bit that, whatever. And there was a time before that when consoles started getting better and better and better, before they were like, isn't retro fun? Let's go back to it.
Yeah.
And you would go, you know what? I haven't played that game in a while. I still have my PlayStation 1. Let's throw on this game or that. Let's throw in the N64 or whatever. And you try playing and you're just, my eyes! I can't! It's so hard. And I feel like sometimes you get that with the Switch games where you're just like, oh my God, like it's the Switch. It's the newest console, and I love it. But I play handheld, and it helps a little bit with that because it's like handheld. You're never really expecting something. But like, John will throw something up on the projector, and we're just like, ah! Like, it just is not right.
I agree. Anyway, we'll see what other... I mean, I'm not sure. The other problem here, right, is that like... I don't like to make predictions in this fashion, but we have got to be close to something new from Nintendo. Like I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a Switch hardware refresh because they haven't needed to, because they've sold really well.
Yeah.
But I do think that like we're starting to get to a point where like it is ridiculous that there is not a 4K Switch.
Yeah.
Because everything is doing 4K now.
Yeah.
Most of the new TVs are all 4K, and like remaining at 1080p or lower, depending on if you're playing in handheld mode, is just not... You're starting to lose people just off of that.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway. Let's see. We're almost to the trailers, but before that, I did just want to briefly say that we got the news story last week that EA is paying $588 million for the rights to the English Premier Football League.
Football.
And that's over 6 years to lock them in, but it does represent a chunk of change.
Oh, hell yeah. I would greatly
enjoy
that chunk of change.
Yes. Boy.
I wouldn't even know what to do with that kind of money.
You just give me, you just like knock that 8 off the end. I'll just take the 8. Like, it's fine. You can keep the 580.
Sneak the 8 under the table.
Yeah.
And like, oops, lost it.
But this will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see, because I think that last I heard, EA broke with FIFA. EA is no longer doing FIFA games. They are doing these EA, it's called like EA Premier League or EA Football, blah, blah, blah. I forget where it is. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how this goes as time goes on. Trailers. Let's see. We got a very strange Atomic Heart trailer. Atomic Heart should be out a couple days after this, that was obviously a stab at Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's like a little girl that's trying to magic the Soviet robots, and nothing happens. And then
I don't know. That Soviet robot looks pretty shocked.
And so she like breaks the wand, and she's like, "This has never worked. Fight those Soviet robots." And then Jensen Ackles comes in as like the guy from Atomic Heart. He beats up all the robots with his big saw blade stick.
Fucking what?
In slow motion.
This is a weird gripe, but I hate when you can see like he's supposed to be like dirty and grungy, and it looks like meticulously placed grease.
Oh,
it just bothers me.
My favorite part was when he blasts these robots, and it's really obvious how they had them all on strings
and
then
just pulled really hard,
and then put in all the lightning later
all
on.
the budget went to Jensen. So
at least they didn't spend way too much money. Sometimes when they do these, like here's a live action thing with a famous person, they spend way too much money on this. This was like, a warehouse in an afternoon.
They literally gave him a bat with like buzzsaw blades on it, and we're like, break everything in this room except the child.
Yeah.
And he did.
I'm not even sure if Jensen Ackles got paid for this, or if they were just like, somebody knew him and they were like, hey, you want to come out and do 5 minutes worth of work for us?
Yes.
He's like, I'm not doing anything this afternoon. Buy me lunch. Give me a case of beer.
I love it.
So, let's see. From there, we got the story trailer for Wild Hearts.
Does every trailer have hearts in the title?
No.
Okay, because Atomic Heart, Wild Hearts.
Yeah. No.
All right, I'm just saying, if the next one has hearts.
It does not. I just checked. So this is interesting. This gave us a little bit more of the actual backstory to Wild Hearts. Wild Hearts is a game that is coming out the day after you and I record this, but it'll already be out by the time this goes up.
Okay.
Which is basically Monster Hunter, but it's being made by...
Oh, that's right. And it has like the building thing.
Yeah.
Right?
The little square things.
Yeah, like wood blocks or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
And it's like, it's out. And... it looks good. And they're talking the story kind of about how like they've got these big monsters and they're having to like figure out how to kind of hunt them in order to get the resources that they need to survive the monsters existing, which is kind of interesting. I mostly liked the kind of extended look at the world.
Yeah.
Like outside of just the kind of monster hunting part. And it looks really good.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised because this is being made by, so it's interesting. This is being made by the guys that make Dynasty Warriors, Omega Force.
Yeah.
But the thing is that they have proven over the last like 3 or 4 years to be exceptionally good chameleon developers, because they keep making like, here's the Persona Dynasty Warriors game, but then they add in all the stuff from Persona, all of the social stuff, or they'll be like, this is the Legend of Zelda one, but then they add in all of this really good Zelda stuff to it.
Yeah.
So I think that they could do a really good job with this, in spite of the fact that they are usually known for fighting a lot of guys and not one guy.
Yeah.
But then they also made those Attack on Titan games.
Big old guy, big old giant monster. It's the same thing.
It also just looks...
yeah, it's pretty as hell. It's just
art
like
design and...
really entrancing. I like that their monsters are more... giant animals, less like monsters, less like dragoons.
Oh, more just like big rock
like
bear.
Yeah, this one's like a rock bear, and they have like a giant boar that looks like it's one of the first ones. I think we saw one of the trailers had it was like a rat or like a possum, like a rodent. Yeah. This looks good. Good. Yeah, it looks really great.
Well, good stuff. What I think is also really interesting about it is the fact that it's being published. It's being published by EA, which EA has done. Like they've published, It Takes Two and Unravel and some of those games. But I think this is the first time that I've seen them publish something that like, this is a AAA game.
Yeah.
Like this is something that is.
Are you saying Unravel isn't a AAA game?
No, but I would call It Takes Two a AAA game.
Yeah.
Anyway, good stuff.
Looks good.
Okay, non-heart game.
Non-heart game.
It's still a story trailer, but we got a full story trailer for Fatal Frame: Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, which I think I talked to you about like last time we recorded, maybe, which is the
not when we recorded. You talked to me about it afterwards because we were talking about scheduling.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, this is coming out in March. This is the re-release of the Suda 51 Fatal Frame game that never came out in the U.S. The kind of crazy thing about this game is that you have the camera obscura, but then there's this guy character, and he has like the spirit flashlight that like also
he's got the Alan Wake light.
Yeah, but it's like his weapon is the flashlight that is also able to hurt the ghosts. In fact, I don't know where it is, but somewhere in here there's a little sequence of him of him kind of fighting a whole like mob of ghosts with the flashlight as opposed to the camera obscura, which is interesting.
That is interesting.
I don't know. I really want to like one of the Fatal Frame games.
Yeah.
They had that last one that came out that was like a re-release of the one that was on the Wii U, which I think was always regarded as like, it was okay.
Yeah.
I think that this one might be like one of the more well-regarded ones, because I think I looked it up one time to see if we could figure out a way to play it for the Asylum.
Right.
So I'm really excited to see if this one is actually good.
Yeah. Hope so.
Because I mean, I remember when we played Fatal or Crimson Butterfly.
Yeah.
And I really liked that game, but I had forgotten that it was like I played it 10 years before we played it.
Yeah.
The one thing though I will say that they show in this trailer that's interesting is that there are a bunch of dumb
costume changes,
booby outfits.
Hell yeah. Did
like,
you want to see her get scared in a pretty Lolita dress?
Yeah, but like okay, she's okay, here's
like
just like a regular costume.
Sailor outfit.
But then like this is like a leather cat suit with also a boob window on it, and like and then there's like
I noticed they haven't shown any of the guys.
This is literally an outfit from one of the girls from Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
Like specifically I don't understand, because all of the Fatal Frame games, they have these weird, look at this sexy costume for the lady that's creeping around getting all freaked out by ghosts, and I'm like, I don't want a sexy scared lady. I want like sexy volleyball lady. That's why you play Dead or Alive.
Yeah,
sexy volleyball.
Yeah, it's weird.
Not sexy cursed village. What? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, that's crazy. I definitely wouldn't play sexy cursed village. That would be.
There was one a long time ago where I swear to God, it was like the main character was just like wearing lingerie, and everybody was like, "But why? That's weird." Like, what do I want to watch somebody that's scared as hell creeping around an abandoned village in like their underpants?
Have you ever watched a slasher movie? Just real quick.
Usually there's a reason. Usually they're like,
oh, and it's always a great reason.
No, I don't even need a great reason. I don't need a great reason. I just need a reason.
Yeah, like any reason whatsoever. It's called fashion. Look it up.
Okay, great. Let's see. I think we had a lot of like horror game stuff this week. We got a trailer for Have a Nice Death, which I am incredibly looking forward to.
Oh, I love that art.
Yeah, you play as like the Grim Reaper, and I think the big thing here that they talk about is that they've got all these different
Look, it's got that hand-drawn look.
Yeah, all these different areas of death that you go to that all have different themes to them. So you've got like what was it, the industrial pollution and like war and poisonings and stuff, physical illness.
So famine, war, pestilence,
addiction.
Sure.
They have some other ones too that are really kind of interesting, but they all have like their own kind of set of enemies and their own kind of theming and stuff like that.
Modern warfare, toxic food processing.
Yeah, which is really,
yeah, of course,
really interesting.
You get to kill fucking Bob's Big Boy.
Yep, pretty much. I think this looks amazing.
Yeah, this looks great. I will play this.
Cannot wait to play it.
Unless it's like console only, or not console only, like fucking PC only, and I'm trapped outside. It says right there, Nintendo Switch, baby. That's all I needed to know.
It is definitely going to be on the Nintendo Switch.
Hell yeah.
In other spooky news, we got a new villain for Dead by Daylight.
That's still a thing.
Yep.
All right.
I think they just released like another Resident Evil pack.
Of course they did.
This one is a tech CEO lady that makes like tech stuff with the skulls of the people what she has killed.
Okay.
And so her thing is all about like drones with skulls on them.
Sure.
And there's a new set. There's a brother and sister pair that are the new survivors. But she's got like a big like hand blade, and then she's got this weird half a gas mask encrusted in diamonds.
Sure.
Every time they do something that's not just like an 80s murder villain, it always gets a little weird.
Yeah.
I think they had like a K-pop guy at one point.
I mean, like, I love the idea of it.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like they create just enough of a story that I'm like, tell me the rest of your fucking story.
Yeah. Like, that's all cool. I don't really want to play that game.
Yeah,
but that's
this
cool.
is not going to get me to play the game. That's more of a gameplay thing, though. Like, it's just not my style of gameplay.
Yep. Yep. I'll tell you what is your style of gameplay.
What
though.
is my style of gameplay?
We got another Romancylvania trailer. This one is framed like a dating show, and I think you'll really like this because it shows.
You've shown me this before, just so we're clear. Not on camera, I don't think.
But look at all these people.
Yeah, the pumpkin lady is like my jam.
I don't know what her. I don't understand the name on her. Like, because
Yeah.
everybody else has like a pun name, and hers is PSL. PSL Pumpkin Spice Latte.
You
okay.
got it.
And then we've got there's like this mummy lady,
Yeah.
Neferet. There's like a mermaid.
Nice. Pretty.
This guy
That's
is like,
just as Robert.
no, Robert is a sexy Frankenstein. See, he's
I
all
know,
stitched
but
together.
why is he just called Robert?
He's Robert.
He's also a pirate? Why
he's
is
a
there
pirate.
a fucking parrot?
He's a pirate Frankenstein.
Right.
He's a sexy
Named
pirate
Robert.
Frankenstein. named
Captain
Robert.
Rob?
Captain Robert. I don't know. Bob. Bob's your uncle. We got Medusa.
With the...
She's got. I like the way that she has the.
she's like the severed head and they put it on a statue.
Yep.
Fuck.
Like a Venus de Milo. She's got like the goggles
Yeah.
that she can put down.
That's amazing.
I like Lulu, who's the Cthulhu.
Oh my god, she's so fucking cute.
And she's got like a little pink dress, and then
she's real poofy.
all of her hair is tentacles.
Oh my
like,
god,
she's
that's
great.
Cute.
Saul.
I don't get Saul.
I think he's just like
He's
a
a
demon.
real quick flash of him too. He's like
They knew.
there
They
and
knew
gone.
not
They're
to.
like, you don't care.
He's like. I think he's like a. He's a Dracula, right? He's got like the pointy Dracula ears.
Okay.
So he might be another Dracula,
I
like
guess.
your guy is. He also has like the. I like the way he's got the cut with the red under.
Yeah.
Where it looks like the cape from Dracula.
Oh, getcha.
And then Elessa, who's like a demon lady.
Yeah.
Brosifer. I really like Brosifer.
We know Brosifer. You've met a Brosifer in your day.
I have. I've met a Brosifer or two, but I like he would get roll along really well with Damien from Monster Prom.
Oh my
right?
god, 100%.
Damien and Brosifer. I would play that game.
I would read that slash fiction.
Do you think that someday in like 3 years we're going to be getting the Monster Prom add-on pack for Romancylvania that adds those characters?
That'd be
here?
fantastic.
And yeah, that's it.
And
so
those three sexy people that just flashed.
I think those. I don't know.
I think they're like the host of the show.
Maybe.
Love at first bite.
But yeah, this is all like fake, and then they show a little gameplay trailer of like it's an actual side-scrolling game, but then it's like got all this weird dating stuff in it as well.
Yeah,
it looks great. I cannot wait to play this game.
Yeah, I'm in.
Looks like a real good time.
I'm in for the sexy characters.
Yeah.
You know. PSL.
It's pretty good.
It's great.
Pretty good. Let's see.
I like it.
What's our time?
Another.
We're going to skip a few things here. This was something that I wanted to talk about real briefly. The PlayStation VR 2 is about to come out, and there was a rumor that there was going to be that this game was going to exist. This is a PSVR 2 game that is called C Smash VRS. C Smash apparently was a cult Dreamcast game that was all about like kind of hitting a ball up against like breaking stuff.
Yeah.
But like in a first person thing, and it was very short, but it was also very addictive. And so some people really, really remember it. And then apparently they have created like a version of this
Yeah.
that's enhanced for PSVR 2. that you will be able to play. It's very short, but you're like recoiling in horror from this.
No, it's a lot of like weird visuals that are not super weird, but a lot of like it's going straight into your eyeballs, and it just hurts my brain for some reason.
And you know what? I'm going to call that a wrap because this last one's called The Wreck, and I don't really like it very much. So
nice,
anyway,
done.
Yep, done. Okay, we got a few more things, and I think we might have time for one question.
Ooh.
So, Dead Island 2, which was coming out on April 28th, is now coming out a week early on April 21st.
Oh,
so
I'm so used to the opposite thing.
Yeah.
Huzzah! I don't care, but huzzah!
There was an interesting like dev diary about it that showed how much work they put into like they modeled the damage system to the point where like they made layers of like flesh and muscle and bone and stuff, and then like when you hit it like calculates how to make that damage happen. I don't know. I am very cautiously optimistic. I know that Dambuster made Homefront 2, which is considered very bad.
Yeah,
but it's unclear whether that was because of it was a work for hire thing. They needed somebody to make a sequel to a thing, and then they rushed the shit out of them.
Yeah,
and they just did what they could. So I don't know. We also got some more details on the Power Wash Simulator Final Fantasy VII pack.
Oh God, I did not know this was a thing.
Yeah, they put out the Tomb Raider pack 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
I beat that. But yeah, this one is going to...
Everything's clean. It's great.
Everything is clean now.
This house is clean.
This one is going to have basically like there is a level that has Cloud's motorcycle and then like a truck. One of the first bosses, the Scorpion Sentinel, Tifa's bar, like a Mako energy exhibit, and then like another boss.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
Like what? So smart.
So there's the bar.
Yeah.
And then there's like one of the bosses. You just clean them up. Got to clean them up.
Yeah, you got to make sure they're shiny like new.
I was saying before, there was a game that was called Viscera Cleanup Detail that like was kind of a big YouTuber thing. People kept asking us to play it on RageSelect, and I played it. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was like you had to go to like a room and pick up every bullet casing, and then you had to get a mop and you had to like mop up the blood. But if you mopped up too much blood, then you would just start putting blood back on the floor.
Yeah.
So you had to like go to the
mop bucket.
And then you had to carry the bucket over, make sure you didn't drop it, and you had to pour it out and put more water. And it was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Just there you go.
There's a horror game that does that where it's like you have to clean a house. And a person like starts with like the voicemail or whatever of like, hey, can you come clean up my house? I know I usually like don't ask you to do this, but I have a really important meeting or whatever tomorrow. And then you're cleaning a house and lights will turn off, and it turns out like are you cleaning blood? Maybe you are. And it's like, ooh, spooky, scary. I watched a whole playthrough of it and was just like I get it. People really like Power Wash Simulator. You got to do more than that, though. Like, it's got to be more than that.
You know what? Oh, man. I'm giving away $1 million ideas this week.
Yeah.
You know what they should make if somebody isn't already doing it? Have you ever watched those videos on YouTube where they have the old carpets?
Yeah.
And then they just like go through and keep doing them. If they could make a game that lets you do that,
yeah.
Like that where you had different things.
Carpet washing simulator?
Yes. Either that, or if you had something that was like Power Wash Simulator, but it was like make one that's like, have you ever seen like restoration channels where you have to take apart like an old salami slicer, and then you have to like I'm gonna put this in here with the ammonia and the black light, and now we're gonna get the wire brush to get the handle off the thing. And
I do follow a guy that takes old like ancient tools that are all rusted and he takes them all apart and then fixes them or replaces pieces and then puts it all back together and then tests it.
If you made a game out of that, people would do it.
People would play it.
I mean, they have a PC Builder Simulator for fuck's sake, which is just put a water pump in there. V Rising, a game that I really, 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 really liked right up until the point where I got to the end of it, and then I stopped. Like I just got bored.
Yeah,
is getting a bunch of updates soon. We're getting updates that add more spells bosses, and then also the ability to have a second story to your castle, which is the biggest problem in the first game, was that your castles could only be one story.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, you want to go out onto the balcony?
How is it a castle?
Yeah.
A one-story castle.
Come on.
That's embarrassing.
That is. So yeah, they are they're doing some updates and trying to get it better. So good stuff.
Fantastic.
Square Enix might have accidentally confirmed that there is a Final Fantasy Tactics remaster in development. They were asked recently about, there was a rhythm game of theirs that came out.
Yeah.
And they were asked about why there weren't any Final Fantasy Tactics characters in it. And the response was,
because we're making a new game. Shit.
the Tactics team is incredibly busy at the moment. They have other things to do. They are heavily involved in another project at the moment, so we just don't have time to talk to them.
People are like, other project?
This has been rumored for quite a while. There was a leak in 2021 for, I think it was GeForce Now, that had that listed as a remaster was coming out. It's almost certainly going to come out, considering the way that Square Enix is working at the moment.
Yeah.
So, and then let's see. We got the confirmation that there's a bunch of new League of Legends kind of adjacent games that are coming out this year. We knew of a couple of them. There's one that's kind of an adventure with like this kid and his big Yeti monster guy.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then there's one with this guy, and it's kind of like a side-scrolling. It's a Song of Nunu, and the other one was Convergence. But we found out that there's going to be another one that is called it's not there yet. It's called The Mage Seeker. It's being made by the dev team that made a game called Moonlighter, which was one of those, like, you go into the dungeon to get stuff, and then you bring it back up and you sell it in your shop during the day.
Yeah.
Things.
Did we play that? I feel like we played Moonlighter.
Possibly. It's very possible. But yeah, that's coming.
Nice.
We'll see what happens.
Delightful.
All right, let's finish it up here with another game. This is funny. Last week, Zero Wing was put on Steam. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, Zero Wing is the game that the All Your Base meme came from.
Yeah. Do you kids even remember that?
Arguably the first meme. The thing is that people are very mad because...
They fix it?
No. The Steam version of Zero Wing is the arcade version of Zero Wing. The one with the crappy intro, with the badly translated intro, was the Sega Genesis version of Zero Wing.
Haha, you get nothing.
So you get nothing. There is some potential that they might add that in at some point.
God, Jesus, they have to patch in your stupid meme.
Yes. Well, they also mention the meme on the Steam page,
No,
like
that's
they
fair.
are leaning into it.
Yeah.
So you can't put like one of the most famous memes of all time and then have it not be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's fair.
let's see. Finally, let's do some fun stuff. One, if you were looking for yet another way to play Skyrim, apparently there was a Skyrim board game that was announced a little while back, is now out, and apparently is pretty fun.
Nice.
So the person reviewing this, I was reading kind of Polygon article about it, said that it's interesting because it works on cards. And so if you there's 3 cards that initiate an end game to your game. So if you take those cards out of the deck,
It's just never ending.
then it's like Skyrim where you can just play it forever and
Holy
it's just
shit.
infinite quests and stuff like that. So I don't know. This is not a board game channel, but this is pretty cool.
It could be. Didn't you guys play Skyrim?
We played the Alexa version of
That's
Skyrim. Amanda?
Yes.
I have good news for you.
Good.
I don't know if you saw this, but Psychonauts 2 got a documentary. Like this is the same company that did the documentary for Broken Age, I guess. And it's 22 1-hour parts.
Yeah.
It's all on Double Fine's YouTube.
I haven't even considered watching it yet, but I did see. I follow Double Fine and Tim Schafer on
Social media.
and they like when they announced it, it just like went off on all of their social media stuff. And I was like, oh, that's great. And then I saw like how long it was going to be. And I was like, I don't have the energy for that kind of thing right now.
You know what I could do in 22 hours? I could replay all of Pokemon.
Yeah.
And,
I could just play Psychonauts 2.
Yeah. And last but not least, we started with some weird Witcher stuff. So let's end with some weird Witcher stuff. Apparently, this is a story about
Can we give him a weird landing strip?
No, but we could give him something. I don't know. This is a strange thing where this guy is reporting on Reddit. This user called Pashalius G16 reports that Geralt has a hammer stuck between his feet, just floating there. And apparently, this hammer is present everywhere. Like when you're playing the game, during the cutscenes of the game, if you create a new game, like there is no way to get rid of this hammer apparently on their copy of The Witcher 3.
Huh.
So
like their copy just happens to have the hammer?
Yeah, like it's some kind of glitch. But that like whatever it is, it's somewhere it's locked into the game. So no matter what they do, they can't get rid of it. Apparently, other people have described something similar.
That's weird.
And yeah, so I thought it was interesting.
That's delightful to have just a little hammer buddy.
Just a little hammer buddy. Yeah. Amanda, we're pretty much out of time. You want to do one quick question?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. Let me check the
one of those good ones.
RageSelect Discord, see what we got over here.
Discord? You know how you get on the Discord?
No.
Very carefully. Via you gotta be a part of our patrons. You gotta go patreon.com/RageSelect. And then ask a question, and then sometimes we don't answer that question for a year, so you gotta really be careful about that sort of thing.
Yeah. Let's see. Matches, old school games to be interested in. We get that one for quite a time. Here's one that's kind of an interesting question that I haven't really talked about in quite a while. El Condor Pasa asks, almost a year ago. We're just doing year-old questions at this point. Why does a video game have to be visually impressive to be good these days? I think if a game has a good story and gameplay, the graphics shouldn't be the factor to play or not.
It's not. Like, I played and enjoyed the new Pokemon game, because using it as an example just because we talked about it earlier. I played and enjoyed the game, but it wasn't good looking. It was actually kind of an ugly game.
Yeah.
So it's a factor in the sense that, like, it's a factor for everything. Like graphics in a movie, or even if a movie tells a great story, it doesn't mean that it's not important. But it doesn't it's just not the end all be all. Like it's several puzzle pieces that put together something. But like I also what appeals to me is different than what appeals to you, what appeals to other people, because I like the cutesy artsy style and not the like hyper realistic. I want it to look like fucking you could see the sweat glistening off their skin and shit like that.
Sure.
Like, so graphics to me mean something different than it does to other people. But I think it's all just it's important, but it's not the end all be all of it.
I haven't thought that much about it, because I normally, when we used to do questions, I would read them all ahead of time and think up my answers. But the first thing that comes to mind for me is that for me, graphics are important because I am a sucker for the new. If you show me something I've never seen before, or I've never heard before, or whatever, that's always going to be more impressive to me because it's brand new stimuli. Like pixel art games are fine, and a lot of times, like pixel art games are fine as long as I can see something interesting happening with them. But when it comes to just like raw graphics, a lot of times I think for me the appeal is that it catches your attention because you're just like, ooh, that's interesting. There's one of the things one of the trailers I skipped over was this game called Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's like 5 years old, and it's a medieval it's just like a medieval simulator where you play as like a peasant who kind of has to go through and eventually you can get and become a knight and you can do all this different stuff.
Yeah.
I've always thought it looks really, really boring because it's just a bunch of medieval dudes in the English countryside.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, well, no matter what the game is, like you show me Bloodborne, which even if it was a From Software game or not,
yeah.
show me Bloodborne, I'm just like, this is something I've never seen before. Look at the art, look at the stuff that's going on here. So I think that in a lot of ways, it's there to kind of grab your attention. And then I also think that there's kind of a flip side of that where if the graphics on something are bad, it can create a level of like
a disconnect from the
it's
story.
like a rocking your shoe.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like, man, I just wish like one of the things Immortals Phoenix Rising was a very pretty game, but the cutscenes were badly done. They were all just like using the stock animations, cutting between really static camera angles of people. Nobody had any like big expressions, which didn't fit because the gods were all very bombastic.
Yeah.
And so then they would just have and they had these great line reads. It's just nobody bothered to go in and animate them. And so then it suddenly broke the spell to a degree where you were just like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. I think you have to remember that this is a visual medium.
Yeah.
Like, so it is important because it is inherently visual. Like, you're asking me to look at this and play it.
Yeah.
And it has to connect all together. We've played like horror games that were like pixelated that worked amazingly because it all played in together so well.
Yes.
And we've played games with beautiful vision, like just gorgeous to look at. No story.
Yep.
The voice acting was garbage.
Yep.
Like the gameplay sucked, and it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like, so what it plays a part in the sense that like when it's terrible and the rest of the game, like when it's terrible you notice it, and when it's great you notice it, but it doesn't like fucking rule the whole thing. None of it does. Like we've played games that are super fun and look good, but the gameplay sucked.
Or sometimes
Or like the story
there's no
sucked.
story, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't matter because we enjoyed playing it so much that the story doesn't fucking matter. Or it's really ugly, but it's super enjoyable.
Or sometimes, I mean, like, again, I've gotten to the point now, Michael was mentioning it last week, there's an article that came out, or it was like a YouTube video called like Why I Don't Play Good Games. And it was talking about how like there's just so many games right now that what you're really looking for are the things that are exceptional. And I can't count. I mean, like I beat maybe 15, 20 games last year. Okay isn't good enough anymore. Yeah. And the thing is that there's been plenty of games that we've played where it's like, okay, the graphics are serviceable. I don't need to have good graphics. I just need graphics that I can see what I'm doing. The gameplay is fine. I don't need to have good gameplay. But if then the story is also just like, okay, it's like I need something. I need one of those three things, either the gameplay, the graphics, or the story to be elevated enough to hook me so that I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah, I feel like if there's like a good, okay, bad, you have to have two in either okay and good, or and like you can have one bad or whatever. But like if it's two bads and a good or two bads and an okay, I'm not gonna fucking bother with it. Like, what the hell is the point in having a fantastic story with garbage gameplay and an ugly, like, I don't want to look at it, I don't want to play it, but I want to know more. That will only get you so far. I might play it for a while to get the story, but I bet I won't finish it.
Yep. I mean, but on the other hand, like, I can make a case for saying that, like, you know, we were just talking about Power Wash Simulator. No real story to speak of. There's a bit of a story, but that wasn't the reason to play the game.
Yeah, nobody really played it that way.
Fine. They're medium. Like, there is nothing wrong with them. They don't get in the way. But, like, just the satisfaction of doing the individual gameplay was so much so that, you know, I didn't bother with Fire Emblem. I didn't play Pokemon, but because Power Wash Simulator was something that was like, it had a unique appeal of just like, you know, it was the virtual version of when you got a messy room and you like have to arrange one corner to find something, and then you're just like, well, now I got to do the rest of this.
Yeah.
And then it's like really satisfying. So yeah, I don't necessarily think that games need good graphics. On the other hand, I also think that we are starting to hit some weird milestones with some of the fidelity and graphics that we're starting to see with like the Unreal 5 engine. And especially I've been very impressed at just how much good ray tracing can like change the feel of a thing, where it's like, oh, suddenly it feels like 20% realer. It feels 20% like more like reality because the light from that candle is doing what light does in real life.
Yeah.
And even though the character model is in the uncanny valley, like
the whole world around
the flickering light hit the tongs that are hanging off the wall just makes your brain go like, what is that real? And then on the other hand, I still don't know how they did it, but I will never, to the end of this day, the best faces I've seen in video games are Nether Realms. I don't know how they do it, but like I remember first seeing it in Injustice, because and then it followed along in Mortal Kombat. The last Mortal Kombat game, where just the individual, I don't know like how they did the motion capture for them, but the faces of the characters were just so freaking expressive, and like they were managing to start coming out of the uncanny valley where like they did a really, really good job. And even that can do stuff. Or like some of the Naughty Dog games, right, have had very, very good expressive characters.
Yeah.
So and that's a case where better graphics can get you more emotionally involved, because as a mammal,
because now I don't feel like I'm watching pixels emote. I'm watching.
I can see the expressions.
Yeah, you're starting to like connect to the characters in a way that we originally hadn't.
Yeah.
And like on going back to like the discussion we had earlier about like the cost of games, I think one of the fastest ways to feel like the quick, easy way of feeling like you're getting your money's worth is to make it look like you're getting your money's worth.
Right.
So, because if it looks like you could have made it on your computer on a weekend, it's really hard to justify it being $70. That's not necessarily like true. You know what I mean? Like some ugly games probably took a lot, and some good looking games might not have taken as much, but still, like most people, we're talking about like the average viewer just doesn't really know that, or you know what I mean? But
what's the other one? Death Stranding.
Even their gorillas look good.
Death Stranding has excellent
oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
facial capture.
Yeah.
And that's one of those ones where
that's like an unfair comparison.
Where they also got actors.
Yeah.
So it's like it is unfair because in a lot of ways it's like not only did you have like incredibly realistic looking characters, but you also had actors to do the capture on them, and so like you're actually getting some honest to god like
but like you also had actors in all of those fucking horror games that I can't think of the names of right now, like
like The Quarry and
and those have some real uncanny glossy-eyed looking characters that to me take away from the horror, because it feels like mannequins are fighting each other. But
it's also I think in a lot of ways I think that you could make again this argument that like we have now come to a point with tech where you can do enough facial capture that like now when you're doing the facial capture you're getting little crinkles around the eyes and little micro ticks of stuff that any human that looks at another human sees. Even unconsciously you see them, and when you see somebody not having where the eyes stay in one place until they turn to the character, think of the cutscenes in like Mass Effect, right, like where they're all automated, and that they do the job well enough, but they don't look like real people. They look like robots, going through the motions. Whereas, we're looking at cutscenes from Death Stranding here, and like, the way that the characters' eyes kind of move around, and just the way that I also think it's been interesting. There's been a whole discussion online about with Aloy how now when you get close to characters, you can see like moles and imperfections and pores and stuff like that. And to me, all of that stuff like allows you to do more storytelling through character emotion, as opposed to the kind of, this, and then the window comes up on the sprite and it says, I am sad, my mother died, and I am very, very sad right now. Instead you can
convey it.
You can have people
like you can have
people have surprise on their face type of thing
instead of like reading it out to them.
So I think that stuff, I think that the level of fidelity and graphics can end up being a better tool. But as you said, I don't think it's the be all end all. We have seen games that are very pretty, but I would never play them because I don't give a shit.
And also, even if it's pretty, if it doesn't fit correctly with what they're giving you, like I've had issues where like there have been games that we've played that start you off, especially like RPGs. A lot of Japanese games will do it where they'll give you like a really beautiful cutscene and you're like, my God, it's gorgeous. And then it'll give you the gameplay and it's like the gameplay looks so good. Like characters look drastically different. Like they change the art style. JRPGs like to do the little like cutscenes where it looks one way and then the like little pixely versions that you see. And it's like that has taken me out of it more than a lot of other things. Like it's just...
I'll also say, last week, Michael and I played this Deliver Us Mars game, and the character faces were so bad that they literally, like, I don't want to look at it. Like, I even knew eventually that the game was going to just be this lady in a helmet, but like, they look like dolls. And to the point where it's like, this is going to detract from your story about this family, going to Mars, trying to figure out the stuff, but like just so little life on the face, so little emotion, and everything else looks good. Like everything else, all of the kind of environment and
every time it cuts back to the girl, her hair goes woo.
I wasn't sure how to fix that. But,
it was very funny.
But that was one where literally the graphics then took me out of it because
I can imagine
it messed me up. So I mean I am not generally a pixel counter.
Also, it's weird because it changes over time. Like our standards have changed over time. I always use it as an example, but when we were kids, we played GoldenEye on the N64 like crazy. And then if you've ever tried to go backwards to that original the way it was, and it is like jarring. I want to fucking throw up looking at it. And it's like, how did I spend so many hours looking at these fucking squares? And it's just like, and so I think like as we go on further, it's hard to lower your standards back down. Like we know how good it can be. It's hard to go back to like so you got to kind of keep up with the progress of it.
And with that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Woo! Another podcast done. Stop showing me this.
I know. I'm like, I can't look away, but I want to.
Hell with this game. Let's go back to looking at.
Guillermo del Toro sexually harassed Norman Reedus. Don't mind if I do.
That whole scene was a testament to what we're talking about because Norman Reedus he's got this phobia about being touched, right? And then Guillermo del Toro is shoving him into a shower to tell him secret information, and the whole time like, he's trying to get away from him.
And you can really feel how uncomfortable that is.
Anyway, as Amanda mentioned earlier, patreon.com/RageSelect. Maybe if you want to help us out. If not, hey, do whatever you want. It's your life. But, you get bonus videos, you get Discord, all that stuff. Maybe I should start making the podcast like early access.
Ooh.
I used to do that, but then I stopped.
It feels kind of gross.
What is this, 2007? Come on. Anyway, that's it. Podcast is over. Got some trademarks. Going to register some trademarks.